But yeah, this one didn't even spawn a legendary character like the Unknown.
Yeah.
So not even as good as the Wonka experience. So the original promotional website for the Mr. Beast experience has been scrubbed from existence, but according to the BBC, the event at Resorts World Las Vegas was advertised as an immersive and unforgettable experience that included exclusive games, a Mr. Beast themed menu, and mystery bags thought to contain limited edition merchandise, including one with a $10,000 gift voucher. I've got a golden ticket.
I've got a golden voucher for what? I don't know. Maybe it's Mr. Beast clothes.
So this is in some ways more Wonka than the Wonka experience.
True, but like, even if the voucher is for, I don't know, something you want, it's a voucher. It's not like he's giving you cash. It's not $1 million, but still, at the very least, he was offering a monetary reward for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hollywood Reporter, they ran a press release about the event back in January, which is still up, so you can see in even further detail what was supposed to be included in the event.
So I actually toyed around with putting this PR stuff before or after we get into the end result. Now, obviously, we're putting it before, but just assume correctly that this all ends poorly either way. Because the quote from the Mr. Beast CEO, who is not Mr. Beast, it's just so fantastic with the benefit of hindsight. I love it. Here's from the Hollywood Reporter, of course, back in January. The Mr. Beast experience will offer on-site activations and immersive experiences across the Resorts World property and in some of its restaurants. A press release teases exclusive menu items and streams of the best of Mr. Beast, themed beverages, and more. We are always looking for ways to give back to our fans and create unforgettable experiences, concurs Jeffrey Hausenbold, president and CEO of Mr. Beast. Partnering with Resorts World Las Vegas allows us to kick off 2025 in true Mr. Beast fashion, combining fun, surprise, and generosity.
Ooh.
I'm excited to see the incredible moments we create together and to make this year truly unforgettable for everyone.
But they got that last part right.
There is so much foreshadowing in that. I cannot believe we didn't pick up on it earlier and just toss this into the three-point basket that it would have been. It's so funny. It's just, you couldn't write better foreshadowing. So a representative for Resort World at the time also added, "We look forward to welcoming his fans to create lasting memories at our property."
What is Resorts World? I have never heard of this.
It's a hotel in Vegas that was hyped to be some massive...
Did it used to be something else?
No, I think it was freshly built, but it was supposed to be like this new cutting-edge whatever combination of resorts. I can't remember which group it's owned by, but it was a flop from the start because it was, I believe, built during COVID and like opened while it was still happening. So, yeah, let's just say it's not going well to the point that they're like...
They really needed this Mr. Beast thing to come through.
The thing, you know, you get them young, you get them into the casino at 15 years old, they want to play the games, they can't, but they are gambling because
they can't play them. But the great thing about Vegas is they have to walk through the casino for 10 to 15 minutes if they want to go anywhere.
Now, I want to know if there were Mr. Beast themed adult beverages and what those were called.
The Beast
Bourbon,
Beast Boilermaker.
Yeah, there we go.
Woo!
We love it.
So yeah, sounds awesome. What you're describing here is that's the dream for all Mr. Beast fans, myself included. So sign me up, get me to Resort World. Operator, get me one-way ticket to Vegas because I'm never coming back.
I'm going to live at the Mr. Beast experience.
Well, look, maybe not me. I did lie.
Yeah,
but hey, the parent of some kid who probably wouldn't shut up about this and thought maybe they could sneak off for some booze and gambling while Mr. Beast was babysitting their teenagers. I bet this was very appealing to that person.
Yeah, there was, I am sure, almost positive there had to be some parents that were like, all right, look, well, the kids will be taken care of at the Mr. Beast thing, even if he locks them in a mental asylum for a couple days.
All right, run along, Junior.
Yeah, get in there in the freaking Squid Game maze.
Daddy's on a hot streak.
Yeah, shut up. I'm getting free beer.
All right, son, Daddy was not on a hot streak. The money is gone. I'm going to need you to find that golden ticket.
You better start digging because Mr. Beast, he owes us a ticket home.
Regardless, this package was priced at $1,000. So really, you're only making $9,000 in the best case scenario.
That's true.
That is a lot of money. And again, we just have to assume that the people who paid for this fully believed all the promotional material. And why shouldn't they? This isn't some nameless company in the UK doing a AI-generated ripoff of a popular story. These are two massive, established brands joining forces for an extremely expensive experience in a city known for expensive experiences. Hell, at the very least, you'd hope that Mr. Beast himself might even, I don't know, show up to complete the entire Mr. Beast experience. He could be the unknown of this. He's hiding the walls. He's watching people experience Mr. Beast.
Yeah, Mr. Beast could be any one of these obstacles on this obstacle course, so be on your best behavior.
He's going to pop out. He's going to do that signature smile of his that's sort of upside down, and we're rich.
Yeah, and, you know, he is much like Santa Claus in that way. He's always watching.
He is always watching.
Yeah.
But no, instead, people sat around for 3 days doing nothing and got some Mr. Beast candy bars to take home for their trouble. And Las Vegas, great town for candy bars.
They love candy. And
I mean, I guess this time of year, it's not going to immediately melt in 10 milliseconds, but...
yeah, it might be too frozen to take a bite of.
Yeah, I mean, you can get those damn Mr. Beast...
Just go to the 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, any 7-Eleven, and they're going to be pristine. And if you see that they're in any sort of disarray, buddy, you get to work.
It is up to you to front that
tighten
chocolate.
that shit out.
Yeah.
Anyway, this whole thing has obviously resulted in demands for compensation from Resorts World executives, an apology from little Mr. Jimmy himself, and a correction that will end up being an absolute nightmare for everyone when you consider the logistics alone.
Yeah, so he's apparently, and look, very nice of him to offer. He's apparently going to fly everyone who was upset to North Carolina.
Ooh,
I know.
I've always wanted to go to North Carolina.
I know you parents really wanted to have some time off in Vegas to head over to the Mandalay Bay Aquarium, and I know you had to sit in the room with your fucking kids doing nothing but hearing them complain all weekend, but what about this? Beautiful. North Carolina, and there's nothing against North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's where the Ratcliffes live, in the White Lotus. I've always wanted to see how those kinds of folks live.
Maybe I can get a Pam. Nothing against North Carolina.
No.
Nothing against North Carolina. I actually love North Carolina. It's just funny to swap out a trip to Vegas for these parents to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great state. It's where the cigarettes come from.
Yeah, while you're here visiting the Mr. Beast compound, your parents are free to explore the tobacco farms and the fucking NASCAR racing museum.
Hey, what a way to live.
And of course, Epic Games.
Oh, is Epic Games in North Carolina?
I believe it is, yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Anyways, yeah, he's apparently going to fly all these people to North Carolina and to visit his studio and by extension, the company town, which technically means they did all win a prize for multiple days of suffering, which does fit perfectly into the Mr. Beast universe.
I'm going to see if these people can put up with 3 days of bullshit, and if they can or can't, I'm going to send them to North Carolina, where I live, and they're going to get to meet me.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe I give them money. I'm not giving them shit. I'm paying for these flights. What are you, people are so greedy.
Yeah. The real challenge was we put a bunch of the most annoying people possible in a hotel in Vegas and saw how long it took the employees to break.
Yeah, it was a social experiment, mate.
But with more on the experience itself through the eyes of Mr. Beast's biggest fans, here's Rolling Stone. As Sunday turned into Monday and then Tuesday, they mostly sat in their hotel rooms waiting for something to happen. Participants reported that they had only received some of Mr. Beast's Feastables chocolate bars and T-shirts that were either extra small or extra large.
The two genders.
Those are always the promotional shirt sizes. Even if you go to like a Dodger game and it's like, Freddie Freeman night, it's like, okay, what size shirt do you want? Do you want toddler or do you want something that you have to wear privately?
You want a night shirt like Ebenezer Scrooge? Because if not, I hope you got nieces and nephews.
Gonna be a wonderful gift. So tempers flared among certain guests seen demanding answers from Resorts World employees.
So now you're the CEO of Resort World. You're staring down one of Earth's most dangerous creatures, the mama bear of a Mr. Beast fan. What do? Apparently, you offer them some drink tickets and tell them that if they want to check out early, you will waive the mandatory fees. Just go.
Look, if you guys want to leave, I'm not going to stop.
You want to scram? Fucking scram.
Yeah, just like everybody else, you want to leave Resorts World.
Get 2 Long Island iced teas on me. Are we good?
I thought the Mr. Beast families were going to be different, but nope, they're going to leave our property just like everyone else. Angry, disappointed, and demanding refunds.
Another bad week for Resorts World. When will it end?
It's so even funnier that this guy came on like this year to try to save the company, and this was one of the first promotions he did. Like, I don't do it.
Incredible work. Resort World on par with the airlines and their handling of errors.
Yeah.
Just
you get nothing.
well, yeah. Best I can do is a polite fuck you.
Yeah.
As for Mr. Beast, like we said, he bought himself a whole bunch of trouble with this. It's gonna end up costing him far more than he ever would have made because he has promised to fly everyone out to North Carolina to visit his studio. Responding to one fan who wrote on X that nothing was going on at the hotel, Donaldson offered a different kind of Mr. Beast surprise. This definitely isn't the experience.
Do it. I love it.
That's what he sounds like.
I know. Yes.
This definitely isn't the experience we'd hope they deliver, he replied. My team's already on it. I'd love to personally make it up to you and anyone else by inviting everybody affected to tour my actual studio. Can't wait to meet you all, and my team is reaching out to everyone.
That's
And
perfect.
he's going to make content out of this, so it's like...
Oh, for sure. He wins no matter what, except for the fact that it, to me, and I know that money can buy anything. You know, I used to tour, and I've done even like a vacation or something. The logistics of flying, let's say it's 12 people. The logistics of flying 12 people with connections, with transportation from the airport to the studio, housing them or putting them in hotels, making sure that they're taken care of, making sure they're fed and all that. It is a huge task, and I'm going to assume
Well,
that
if
he's up
anyone
to
can do it, it's me, Mr. Beast.
I can't tell if he's happy or angry, kids. We should leave. A source close to Mr. Beast tells Rolling Stone that his brand had indeed been licensed for the Resorts World event, but that the experience wasn't up to Mr. Beast standards. They confirmed that Donaldson has personally reached out to those affected with the invite to fly them to his studio in North Carolina. Mistakes happen, and this was definitely a mistake, they said, without further elaborating on what exactly went wrong with the Vegas experience.
Yeah, that's like, what happened?
They can't say that because then they'd be liable.
I guess so,
Yeah. They called it a lesson in how to manage such commercial partnerships in the future. I hope everyone that attended is happy.
Yeah, this is a really novel business lesson, is when you promise people something, you should fucking deliver on it if they're paying you money for it, like $1,000.
$1,000.
Hey.
And they
welcome to the Resorts World welcome to
hell.
Welcome to hell. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the BBC or Rolling Stone, but someone pointed out the fact that like if these parents had just booked what was given in the experience with their own cash, it would have been less than half of the cost. Because specifically, this Mr. Beast thing was happening on the lowest possible traffic days in Vegas. It was Saturday or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and there was someone that did the a quick search on what the prices would be, and it was like $400 for 3 nights there. Instead, they charged $1,000 and gave them an extra small shirt and a chocolate bar.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure somewhere there was a compilation of Mr. Beast videos playing, I guess.
Yeah, maybe a cardboard stand out of Mr. Beast.
Yeah. You can pose with him.
Have a feastable!
Is there any way you could cut the mouth off and like turn it upside down or something? Or...
Oh, no, that's even worse.
I don't know how it works. And that also goes along with the dead behind the eyes.
Yeah.
But at the very least, he's saying he's going to do something. And I am being very particular in saying that he's saying he's going to do something.
We'll see.
I will wait for all this to happen to give him full credit on making good. But that remains to be seen. Now, like we said, it's a logistical nightmare, and it's going to be very expensive to pull off, which might obviously lead to yet another very public subpar experience.
I paid for the plane tickets for 400 people to come to North Carolina, but I left them in a tobacco field as a social experiment. Whoever can get out of the tobacco maze gets
a free Bojangles dinner. But no biscuit. The biscuits are for me.
But little Jimmy Donaldson isn't the only content creator drawing extremely negative attention this week because, folks, they targeted gamers. Yes, if for some reason the gamers of the world were still disconnected from the harsh realities of modern-day America, they are getting a big wake-up call now because House Speaker Mike Johnson, the guy whose son monitors his porn use,
that's true,
is justifying cuts to Medicaid by claiming that it's being used by strong young men who spend all day playing Minecraft instead of getting down those damn mines.
Oh, you like mining so much?
Beautiful, clean coal.
Yeah. It's so beautiful and clean, you'll never get dirty.
They're just saying chicken jockey and throwing popcorn everywhere.
That's right, Elliot. We need less desk jockeys and more chicken jockeys. Popcorn. I don't care. They're having fun. Kids are having fun.
I saw a Aftermath video showing the work that the custodial services had cut out for them, and it made me very sad.
Look, I did that job when I'm not saying it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
But I worked at a movie theater and I had to clean up the theaters afterwards. First of all, no one's doing a good job. Second of all, there's really nothing else to fucking do a lot of the time.
I guess.
But
there's a lot of popcorn.
when,
Like, they're gonna have to get multiple bags.
Oh yeah. But when I worked at the Cobb Theaters, which is what it was called at the time, we would they came out with these. I think it was like when Godzilla came out or something. They made these like custom hard plastic, like 32-ounce cups for promotional stuff. And we'd find them, and people they'd only drink like a couple ounces of it. So we'd toss them up in the air and just smash them with broomsticks, and they would explode all over the theater.
Wouldn't everything get wet?
I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
You did the opposite of your job.
Seriously though, Mike Johnson is attacking. Look, I'm not the criminal. Mike Johnson is. And that movie theater is now an electronics store, so no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson's attacking.
Horny Mike Johnson.
He can't get enough of that porn. Mike Johnson's attacking Medicaid and using gamers to drive division among people who utilize the program. But as always, this is, of course, just the first step in just dismantling it entirely. Here's PC Gamer.
Medicaid is a explaining. Okay, gamers, gather around. We gotta.
You might be confused. You've heard the recent
We need to
headlines.
provide some background on some of these concepts.
You've heard the headlines and you said, I need to go to a reliable source. I'm going to PC Gamer, who's going to give me the background.
Okay, so Medicaid is a U.S. health insurance program for people with low incomes. It's funded by states and the federal government. And like most government programs that help people in some way, it's one of the Trump administration's targets for cuts. Why? Video games, of course. More specifically, part of the plan is to implement work requirements for Medicaid eligibility. This is currently only a feature of the program in Georgia. And to justify adding this administrative hurdle for patients and states, Republicans are claiming that access to taxpayer-funded healthcare is causing young men to waste all their time playing video games instead of working. No one has talked about cutting one benefit in Medicaid to anyone who's duly owed. What we've talked about is returning work requirements. So, for example, you don't have able-bodied young men on a program that's designed for single mothers and the elderly and disabled. They're draining resources from people, said House Speaker Mike Johnson last week.
And another health bar just popped up.
So if you clean that up and shore it up, you save a lot of money and you return the dignity of work to young men who need to be out working instead of playing video games all day.
That we have quite literally gotten to the get back in the mines part of this administration. Did you see there was like a marketing image that went around this week from, it was like the Labor Department or something. I'll have to find it. I'll put it in here. But it was like it was a promotional image that welcomed strong, young, able-bodied men back to the mines. And even the promo image that was put out through some government agency, which was just some fucking doge.
Enemy UAV inbound. Enemy UAV inbound.
Boy, making up.
Yeah.
But even that, all of the people in it were just covered head to torso in soot.
Don't do it. It'll kill you.
Yeah.
It's killed. It killed generations of American men.
Yeah.
The more I think about this fucking weird obsession with like manly work, the dumber it gets. Because I'm like, wait a second. If we really want to like put America's young men to work in like manly, tough jobs, we have a massive housing shortage. The trades are great for this.
Build it up, don't dig down.
Yeah, like we need to build millions of housing units in this country, and some sort of new deal for housing that put people to work. Building houses,
publicly funding trade schools.
Yeah.
Not cutting funding from stuff.
There are a lot of jobs that don't involve getting fucking black lung at 40 years old. Anyway, but back to Mike Johnson and his obsession with young boys playing video games.
And a side note, also porn.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he couldn't say that out loud because his son would get an alert.
Yeah,
but that's what he's thinking.
People like my son are spending all their days on porn-a-rooney.
You need to stop jerking off and start working off.
Stop jacking off and start jacking in.
Anyway, the article points out correctly that a majority of people on Medicaid do actually work. And the overwhelming majority of those who don't are seniors, people enrolled in school, or are sick or disabled. It's literally an intentionally placed comment made to anger people, especially gamers who are all sitting around wondering where the hell their free health insurance is. Hey, wait.
Whoa, hold on. I've been owed health insurance this entire time?
No.
I mean, technically speaking, gamers have fought in every major battle throughout history.
Yeah.
Whether it's modern warfare, a world that's at war, hell, they've battled in wars that haven't even happened yet.
Cold War.
Yeah, free health insurance should be the bare minimum for our brave soldiers. Thank you for your service, gamers. Now, unfortunately, we can't have nice things in this country because we have to send Katy Perry to space. And all the fallout from this is as annoying as the trip itself. Thankfully, at least a few people have gone just absolutely insane and now believe that for some reason they faked Katy Perry going to space.
The Katy Perry that came back is a different Katy Perry. Where's the real Katy?
That was the first one, and that was because look, they
zoom in on the earlobe here. You'll notice some very striking differences.
Now, of course, we love this conspiracy theory because it doesn't matter. Who cares? This is a fun conspiracy theory. But as Elliot pointed out, this one is not too far off from a preemptive conspiracy that people are trying to start on BlueSky and X, where the Katy Perry that returned to Earth is not the same.
Yeah.
She changed. Something happened though.
Katy Perry and Lauren Sanchez actually swapped bodies up in space.
And a fly.
He did that. Bezos did that so he could have sex with both of them. He's a real sicko, that Bezos.
You're making a lot more sense because part of the promotion for this trip was Lauren Sanchez, Jeff Bezos' fiance, wrote a book about doing this flight, and the book is like, and then we went to the Texas launch facility, and then it's like, yep, it keeps it in a barn, kids. Anyways, the fly got into board, and then all the people in ground, it's like a whole, just a list of all the procedures, but it's a little animated fly that does it. So the whole thing is just about Blue Origin, promoted on Amazon.com and written by Jeff Bezos' fiance.
Yeah, I'm sure she put a lot of effort into that.
But back to the Katy Perry conspiracy, which is just so much fun.
Yeah, with more on the theory that the whole thing was faked, here's the Daily Dot. The trip has been brutally roasted online, with some critics joking that the trip lasted shorter than Selena Gomez's social media breaks, and others calling into question the need for such a trip, deeming it a publicity stunt designed to entice future wealthy passengers. But a handful of people critical of the journey have taken things a step further by claiming the trip never happened. The truther conspiracy is largely based on a video of the hatch door appearing to be opened briefly from the inside after landing before Bezos uses a large tool to open it from the outside. Here's definitive proof that the Blue Origin mission was faked, concluded one person on X. The clip narrating the door opening went viral on TikTok too, with one creator determining space is fake and gay.
The amount of people that believe this happened is astonishing, reads the top reply on TikTok.
Okay, sheeple.
Other truthers pointed out the crew did not break any bones upon landing, even though fractures are not typical for astronauts.
No, it's not something that happens. Why would they break bones?
This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen, wrote one skeptic. Blue Origin celebrity launch was all fake. Landing in the desert like that would have broken bones anyway, morons.
Where did you get this idea about the bones?
The lack of scorch burns on the capsule also got flagged, even though New Shepard barely made it into space, making for a less intense re-entry. It also employed a new type of heat shield. The Blue Origin all-girls space flight was 100% fake. This is what re-entry does to anything that goes into space, one person said, citing an image of a scorched vessel. Also, they don't land some exact place in the desert with a bunch of people waiting. But the main evidence for the Blue Origin truthers is the door, and the fact that it opened from the inside instead of the outside. NASA, however, specifically states in its safety requirements that doors should be operable on either side by a single crew member without the use of tools. This is one of the most blatant things, regulations or whatever you want to say, that was written after a massive public disaster when the Apollo 1 capsule burned the astronauts alive.
Scorched those guys alive, and there was nothing anyone
because it could only open inward.
Yeah. I believe they ended up releasing like both angles because they're like, yeah, basically Basically, Jeff Bezos wanted to look cool, like prying his wife out of the capsule. So he made them like, no, shut the door. This will look a lot cooler.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Anyway.
But yeah, but that's enough, baby. We got a conspiracy on our hands.
Space is fake.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the world of brands, Wendy's decided to tackle the subject with the subtlety of a baseball bat to the skull when they replied to news of Katy Perry's return to Earth with, "Can we send her back?" And when we said women in STEM, this isn't what we meant. They also mocked the length of the trip, saying, "I can dissociate for a lot longer than 11 minutes." People were obviously pissed about this because people are pissed about everything all the time. And not to be confused with Human People, People magazine claimed to have spoken to someone close to the situation, which sounds like they spoke directly to Katy Perry herself.
Yeah.
And that person, whoever they may be, was very upset, saying, "Wendy's didn't make a joke. They made a choice. This wasn't harmless banter. This was a billion-dollar brand using its platform to publicly demean a woman." The magazine reached out to Wendy's for comment, and the company replied saying, "We always bring a little spice to our socials, but Wendy's has a ton of respect for Katy Perry and her out-of-this-world talent."
Wendy's always brings a lot of spice, just like our hot nuggets. We bring the spice.
I didn't know they were still doing this. Like, the Wendy's acting sassy is such like a 2015.
And that's why the only reason I like this is that it felt like a throwback to the before time.
Yeah.
And I love the reaction that how dare a large company with this much reach mock anything, considering what the fucking administration running the country right now is.
Yeah, it's also very funny to treat this as like some sort of accomplishment,
Yeah, no.
and not just a fucking publicity stunt.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, what did the Duolingo owl have to say about this? Probably something horny. Probably something way out of pocket.
I'd like to get my nose in that capsule. I bet it smells like Badusi in there. Fucking Duolingo owl. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus. Someone needs to give Duolingo Owl's son an alert on his phone every time Duolingo Owl gets horny.
I have to turn the batteries off because this thing does not stop buzzing. But speaking of brands, after saying the word Badusi, we're never going to get sponsored again. And of course, today we don't have a sponsor, so you're the sponsor. In fact,
thank you.
we added an option to join the channel as a supporter at a lower rate if you just want to contribute at all. Trump added tariffs, prices are up across the board, and baby, we said, let's go cheaper.
Yeah. You know what? Prices are up. Let's go down.
We did the opposite.
We go against the grain.
That's right. And so it's only going to take, a couple 100,000, 200,000 more people, and finally we can have the financial stability and freedom that we so desperately desire and deserve.
Yep.
So yeah, let's fucking do it. Instead of talking about headphones or razors today, we're going to see if you can join the channel, and if you've gotten some value out of us presenting the news, we would really appreciate it if you click the join button. And now we'll go back to not bugging you about it for quite some time.
But let's move on to some updates, and we'll start by checking in with two of the most comically stupid politicians to grace our screens. New York Mayor Eric Adams and former Brazilian president, current hospital VIP, Jair Bolsonaro. He's got so many punch cards from the hospital.
He's almost ready.
He's entitled to a free CAT scan.
That's right. Yeah, he's ready to turn in his credits.
Let's get Bolsonaro out of the way first, because this is a guy who is either addicted to hospitals and medical care or has earned himself quite a few licks from the devil after doing a bit of money laundering and allegedly plotting assassinations of his political rivals.
Who hasn't?
Just,
Who among us?
fascism in general. He's not a good guy, and it's just very weird. Someone pointed out today that all the pictures of Bolsonaro that we've seen, the many, just dozens of pictures, are photos he posted.
He loves it.
It's not like someone went into the hospital and snapped a picture of him looking like shit.
No, he puts it out like it's a press release.
Yeah, which is very weird because he's like trying to present himself as like this big tough guy.
Yeah.
But he is sickly.
Well,
He's a
I think
sickly man.
now he's doing like the Harvey Weinstein thing where he's going to show up with like a walker and stuff because his trial for the coup is coming up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually he's putting himself in situations where he can be attacked by wildlife, large birds specifically. Birds hate him. But this time he decided to get some surgery to fix an injury that he sustained while being stabbed a few years
Oh,
back.
by the way, I did look it up. It's not an emu or an ostrich. It's a secret third thing called a reese.
What?
Rheas. It is in the same family, but it's a different bird.
Cassowary.
So yeah, he's going above and beyond. He's getting bit by birds we don't even know about.
I drove past the emu farm outside of Solvang a few days ago, and goddamn, those birds are big.
They are.
God damn, they're terrifying.
Cover your eyes.
Won't catch me getting anywhere near a big bird like that.
Helicopters and large birds.
Hell
get
fucking
me
no.
away.
Anyway, back to Bolsonaro. Apparently, yeah, he was suffering from abdominal pain, and he went under the knife for 12 hours to remove a bowel obstruction. He was all blocked up.
Yeah.
All blocked up down there. This marks his 6th procedure relating to the stabbing.
No, wait, guys, don't fix it all the way. I want to come back in a couple of months.
Yeah, and at some point, you have to wonder if he kind of gets off on the medical attention. Either way, new pics just dropped. We got new pics and video of Bolsonaro in his happy place, the hospital. And as Juniper put it best, Bolsonaro is the Michael Phelps of getting sick.
Yep.
We wish him a lengthy and painful recovery as he prepares to go on trial for attempting a coup, which he definitely did and should suffer the consequences for.
Oh, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? He's gonna come into the court with his fucking ID.
Yeah.
With he's gonna have all the wires hanging off of him.
He's gonna, with all the pictures of him with the thing coming out of his nose, he was shitting out of his nose.
Yeah.
That's what they did. It's disgusting.
What he should do, if he really wants to like sell this, he walks in with like the IV and all the cords and stuff, and then he has his lawyer accidentally step on the cords, and then he passes out, and everyone's like, "What happened to Bolsonaro?" And then the lawyer goes, "Ah, crap," and then he comes back to life. It's a whole fun sketch that they can do.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got something cooking up.
Give me a call, Jair. But anyways, let's get over to Eric Adams, who, if you're not caught up, he's the one that had all those pesky federal corruption charges completely dropped. And those were the ones that dealt with, just a foreign nation contributing to his campaign.
Much like Bolsonaro is 100% guilty, like, Eric Adams definitely fucking did that shit.
He definitely
They got him dead to rights.
Fucking Turkey.
They got him dead to rights,
Yeah.
and he corruptioned his way out of the corruption charges.
Yeah, he was charges dropped at the behest of Donald Trump, a man who definitely will not use that to his advantage. Anyways, this week, while doing a press conference, Adams donned a shirt dedicated to the memory of the victims of a horrific nightclub fire in the Dominican Republic, which was a nice gesture, except that's not what the shirt said. And it wasn't even in the Spanish language, and no one on his staff or anyone around him corrected him before he walked out onto that stage. From New York Magazine's The Cut,
At a press conference today, Adams wore an incredibly tight shirt with cheap-looking printing, complete with an American flag and the phrase, "In Dio confidiamo." Adams told that sounds Italian. Adams told the press the sentence was Spanish and meant to honor the victims of the tragic Dominican Republic nightclub roof collapse. The phrase is actually Italian for "In God We Trust." Not even close.
not even close. More importantly, though, like we said, Donald Trump let Eric Adams get off scot-free. And in return, Adams let the Trump administration's ICE agents walk right into Rikers Island after they'd been banned from the jail for over a decade. The Adams is now being sued by the city council for what they're calling a clear quid pro quo with the Trump administration. And here's the New York Times with more on that. The city council sued Mayor Eric Adams on Tuesday in an attempt to block an executive order that permitted the Trump administration to open offices at the Rikers Island jail complex as part of its immigration crackdown. The Democratic-led city council argued that Mr. Adams, who is also a Democrat, had abused the power of his office and accused him of helping Mr. Trump enact his mass deportation agenda as payback for the Justice Department's move to end the federal corruption case against the mayor. This is a naked attempt by Eric Adams to fulfill his end of the bargain for special treatment he received from the Trump administration. Council Speaker Adrian Adams, who is running against the mayor, said in a statement, "The lawsuit, filed in state court, set the stage for an extraordinary intra-party showdown between the city council and Mr. Adams, who has grappled with blowback for embracing Mr. Trump and recently announced he would seek a second term as an independent in the November general election."
He's definitely not going to win. No fucking chance. But they also, New York just has a funny way of always making the worst choice of all possible outcomes. And it seems like Cuomo is, he's in the lead right now because New York loves electing a real piece of shit to run their city.
Hey.
De Blasio being the one exception, just kind of batted his job.
Well, now, with the precedent that has been set by his prior time in a different office, Cuomo can now just wave away any criticism by saying, "I didn't do that. I'm just Italian."
Yeah.
And he can wear that shirt that Eric Adams
He
wore.
can.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, now we have an update to one of the biggest stories in the country. And while it's nowhere close to a happy ending, there was some actual good news today regarding Abrego Garcia, the Maryland father who was mistakenly sent to a Salvadoran prison despite being in the United States legally. He is alive. And after a few failed attempts at meeting with him, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen was able to sit with Mr. Garcia after initially being denied entry to the facility, despite numerous Republicans visiting.
Yeah, no problem with
and
them.
Even doing little dehumanizing photo shoots with no issues. Again, this is far from over, but at the very least, someone is doing something and actually using the power and status they have to at least attempt to right this wrong. So shout out to Senator Van Hollen for actually stepping up and doing the right thing.
Yes.
And I mean, like,
This is his constituent.
if you look at it from Abrego Garcia's POV, like this may be the first glimpse of the outside world
that he's had.
Yeah, like
that people are even upset about this.
Like he might have not known until this moment that this was even a big deal. So that's got to feel good for him.
As we'll get to, the Bukele was like, see, he's alive. All right, bye. That was basically the response from Bukele. And this only happened after it went international that he was being denied entry while Republicans were free to go. But here's NBC News with more. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen confirmed Thursday night that he met with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a man who the Trump administration said it mistakenly deported to El Salvador in March. I said my main goal of this trip was to meet with Kilmar. Tonight, I had that chance. I have called his wife, Jennifer, to pass along his message of love. I look forward to providing a full update upon my return, Van Hollen wrote in a post on X. Images of Van Hollen's meeting with Abrego Garcia were first posted online by Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, who has rebuffed calls to return Abrego Garcia to the U.S. Bukele said in a post on X after the meeting that Abrego Garcia will remain in El Salvador's custody now that he's been confirmed healthy. During an Oval Office meeting with President Donald Trump on Monday, Bukele argued that he didn't have the power to return him to the United States. Attorney General Pam Bondi said the same day that the U.S. would provide a plane for Abrego Garcia to travel back to the U.S. should El Salvador allow his release, framing the decision as being solely in Bukele's hands.
It's up to him, and who knows? I mean, listen, we did literally just have him in the White House days ago, but like, yeah.
And sure, our administration admitted that this was a mistake, and also the Supreme Court, by the way, unanimously went in favor of returning Abrego Garcia, and is now being defied.
So yeah, we'll keep you updated on all of that, but it's at least good to know that the guy is alive.
Yeah, because for the past couple of days, it's like, yo, why what's the hesitation in even showing him on camera?
Yeah.
Very worrisome.
People did find some kind of disturbing, like, satellite images of this prison with giant puddles of what looks like blood. It might not be, but yeah, not knowing if this guy was even alive was scary, especially for
his family,
and whatnot. So that's good to at least have that.
Yeah.
But now let's attempt to end the episode with some good news.
Some more
Office Gym style.
Yeah.
Scientists think they may have found life on another planet. And we know, you hear this on a semi-frequent basis or something like this, but this one stands out as the best shot yet for proof that life can exist elsewhere. Plus, it's a story that has nothing to do with our government, our country, or even our planet, except, oh wait, who's funding the research into all these things?
Cambridge. See? I gotcha. This is a Cambridge one.
Okay.
Take that.
Okay.
Lib.
Anyway, fuck it. With more on the discovery of a planet that could be teeming with life, here's the BBC. Scientists have found new but tentative evidence that a faraway world orbiting another star may be home to life. A Cambridge team studying the atmosphere of a planet called K2-18b has detected signs of molecules which on Earth are only produced by simple organisms. This is the second and most promising time chemicals associated with life have been detected in the planet's atmosphere by NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. But the team and independent astronomers stress that more data is needed to confirm these results.
The lead researcher, Professor Niku Madhusudan, told the BBC at his lab at Cambridge University's Institute of Astronomy that he hopes to obtain the clinching evidence soon. This is the strongest evidence yet there is possibly life out there. I can realistically say that we can confirm this signal within 1 to 2 years.
Damn.
K2-18b is 2.5 times the size of Earth and is 700 trillion miles, or 124 light years away from us. A distance far beyond what any human could travel in a lifetime. Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, shucks.
The Cambridge group has found that the atmosphere seems to contain the chemical signature of at least one of 2 molecules that are associated with life, dimethyl sulfide and dimethyl disulfide. On Earth, these gases are produced by marine phytoplankton and bacteria. Professor Madhusudan said that he was surprised by how much gas was apparently detected during a single observation window. The amount we estimate of this gas in the atmosphere is thousands of times higher than what we have on Earth, he said.
Yeah, I bet your mama lives on that planet.
Yeah, she gassy as hell. He continues. So if the association with life is real, then this planet will be teeming with life, he added. He went further. If we confirm there is life on K2-18b, it should basically confirm that life is very common in the galaxy.
Yeah, just the way they do this is pretty cool. Like they have to wait for this planet to like be perfectly aligned with its sun behind it. So it's backlit, and then they can tell somehow with the James Webb Telescope what chemicals are wafting off of this thing. But yeah, still pretty. I mean, that would be fucking crazy if there is like confirmed life elsewhere in the universe and not even that far away. Yeah. That's a big deal.
Well, there you go. Something good to end on, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot more for you soon with Weekly Weird News. But in the meantime, make sure you click the damn like button.
Click the goddamn like button.
Or we're going to make you sit in a hotel room for 3 days and watch Mr. Beast videos.
I'm going to make you hit the like button, guys.
Smash that like button. Just do it. Anyways, leave a comment, talk about anything we talked about today or whatever's going on with you. Watch our video, just a memorialization of the hacker known as 4chan. Check that out, and we'll be back with some more videos. There they are. They're popping up over here now. We'll see you soon. Make sure you're subscribed. Bye.
Bye.
Like, I don't know everything about every topic I have opinions on. Like, how can I do it all? Like, so politically educated. It's exhausting. And it's also impossible. Also, why are you looking to me for some political answer? You think I have the answer? I'm a pop star. I wish I had the answers. I wish the president was a pop star.
So it's safe to say we live in a very celebrity-obsessed culture. And we put celebrity and artists on such a pedestal. And of course, a lot of them deserve it for their great art, whether that be them being singers, actors, directors, athletes and stuff. But what comes with that often is a lot of us projecting our own personalities on them, thinking they're compatible with us, and often thinking they might have the same political views as us. And if we put them on this pedestal, their political views could kind of like bring them down in our eyes or kind of raise them up. Now, I'm saying that because there's been quite an insane focus on Chapel Roan's political views. And I don't personally find them that disagreeable or even controversial, because it's pretty clear people on both sides don't like her. Of course, Republicans and conservatives aren't going to like an open queer person who often does drag performances and stuff. But then there's also the left-wing side where liberals really hate her because they think she is either a secret Republican. I'm not joking. I've seen that comment going around. And she helped get Trump elected by telling people not to vote. And they think her criticism of the Democrats comes from a centrist place or a right-wing place, and not just sort of like a normie left-wing place of just, I hate the government and I hate political parties because they're all bad. And I want to make this video, I wouldn't say it's like a defense of every single thing she said, because I personally first don't really give a shit about what she believes in politically. It's more just talking about the obsessive focus on this one person, why we're doing it, and I want to talk about the various controversies, or kind of like the narrative of the last 6 months where it's like, oh, she's bad, she's bad, she's bad, and then, oh my God, she's actually like a secret Republican, and she's just like a bad person for her political views. I guess we would need to talk about like why her specifically, because how many celebrities are out there who are insanely political but just don't make headlines, and even like popular ones as well? Or people like, let's say Pedro Pascal, who comes out and says like one good thing once a year, and I was like, everyone loves him. But when it comes to Chapel Roan, because she said something bad about Kamala Harris and the Democrats, everyone just hates her forever, even though it seems from like Pedro Pascal's history, he has a more coherent like left-wing ideology, which probably doesn't love the Democrats so much. But because Chapel Roan said something more spontaneously once, like people hate it. Obviously, you can't like downplay the misogyny involved in that as well. And I even spoke about this a tiny bit in my video about misogyny on YouTube. Like I said to my girlfriend about my views on like Chapel Roan, Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter. I don't like their music, but I feel like they're just in my face all the time because the media obsessively pushes these people and also obsesses on these people, so you feel like you can't escape them. So when someone like Chapel Roan has a political take, unlike, you know, one of the more political celebrities, especially male celebrities, like let's say Pedro Pascal, suddenly everyone just has to have an opinion on it. And I guess people should just remember, people who are celebrities, of course, have fame and power, but they were once normal people. And in terms of politics, just because they're famous doesn't mean they know politics well, or you should listen to them about politics. Like, yes, when a celebrity has good political views and progressive political views that are about helping humanity, that is a good thing, and I'm happy about that because obviously celebrity affects culture. At the same time, I'm not really looking for guidance from celebrities who don't really have much of an interest or background in politics because they probably don't know really what they're talking about. And we can often, like I said, project our own views on these people and think they know it better than they really do. So one example I want to use quickly before we go into the rest of the video. So I've been listening to Al Pacino's autobiography and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great autobiography. Don't buy it if you want the background on like his movies. It's more about his life. But in that, you see his background, you see his upbringing, terrible education, very poor migrant family, in like a gang growing up and stuff. I guess people would think Al Pacino maybe might be more political than you'd think. So obviously, Al Pacino's in The Godfather. That is a political film. Al Pacino's in Scarface. That's a very political film. Al Pacino's in Dog Day Afternoon, which is about a real-life story of someone robbing a bank to pay for their partner's gender reassignment surgery, I believe. Al Pacino is also in Cruising, which of course was extremely controversial at the time for exploiting the gay community. At the same time, him being in that film, in terms of that, back in those days, you'd think he has more like progressive views on the LGBT community, like being comfortable playing that role, and also being in Dog Day Afternoon. Obviously, he's in films like Serpico, and then he's in films where he gives, you know, these great speeches about the system because he plays lawyers in multiple films, and obviously he plays policemen. So you think Al Pacino probably has like interesting political views and might even know his politics pretty well because he plays these characters all the time that are so political and represent something in the political system in the United States. But if you read his autobiography, he basically knows nothing about politics. There's a bit in I think the early 70s, he has a friend who's really political, and he says, I didn't know anything about politics. I knew the US had won World War II and that was good, but other than that, I didn't really know what was going on. Because for him, he just had a terrible education, didn't know much about politics, and just became like this very talented performer who then saw all these things that he did as roles. Even sometimes he said in plays, he'd play like these communist revolutionaries, but then he's saying to all his friends, I don't know anything about politics, right? And that would probably surprise a lot of people because if you watch Al Pacino's body of work and you see the roles he plays, you're like, surely this guy knows about politics. And he's educated in politics, but he's really not. And even when he's talking about Scarface with Oliver Stone, he talks about the politics of it. He's like, you know, it's Oliver Stone who made it political. It's not anything to do with me. And I was just playing an interesting character. And I say that because that is a guy whose performance touches on politics way more in all these roles he does, touches on the system way more, touches on things like LGBT rights, police corruption, law, and the system. And here's a guy who didn't really know much about any of those things. And you could put him on a pedestal and think maybe he is a very political animal, but he's just not. And that's important to remember because for a lot of these people, even if they do engage in the political world, it doesn't mean they're going to know much about politics, and it doesn't mean you should be looking to them for your political views and really giving a shit what they say about politics. You can just enjoy the art, but who cares? Yes, like I said, it's a nice surprise. It's a nice surprise when a footballer has more progressive politics, because a lot of them don't. At the same time, I don't like them for their politics. I like them because they're talented at something else that I admire. But in regards to that, let's talk about Chapel Roan as well, because she has spoke about politics, and she has gone out of her way to kind of talk about some things which has got her a lot of scrutiny. So basically, I'm not going to read the quote. She said, I think it was a Rolling Stone interview, cover story actually, and a Guardian interview running up to the election. She said she's not going to endorse someone, and she's saying, you know, examine both sides and choose who you're going to vote for. She said some nice things about Kamala Harris, but basically got loads and loads of backlash from Blue MAGA, who are like, oh my God, how could you not fully endorse Kamala Harris? You must love Donald Trump. And again, because like I was saying, with our over focus on female celebrities, and especially people like Chapel Roan or Taylor Swift, everyone is just like having an opinion about this and saying stuff about her. So basically, she made videos addressing this, basically clarifying it. So she had to make two, because she reiterated what she said on one, and then in the second one, she was responding to everyone giving her more criticism for not full-throatedly supporting the Democrats in the 2024 election. So let's have a look at a few clips of these.
I have encouraged people to use critical thinking skills, learn about what they're voting for, learn about who they're voting for, and ask questions. And it's being completely taken out of context. I think it's important for me to question authority and question world leaders. This is my third election in voting, and the world is changing so rapidly, and I want to be part of the generation that changes things for good. Hear from my mouth, if you're still wondering. No, I'm not voting for Trump, and yes, I will always question those in power and those making decisions over other people. I just woke up, and to like people just skewing it even more, endorsing and voting are completely different. I don't agree with a lot of what is going on with like policies. Like obviously, fuck the policies of the right, but also fuck some of the policies on the left. That's why I can't endorse. That's why I can't like put my entire name and my entire project behind one, because there is no way I can stand behind some of the left's completely transphobic and completely genocidal views. Fuck Trump for fucking real, but fuck some of the shit that has gone down in the Democratic Party that I'm not gonna settle for what the options that are in front of me. And you're not gonna make me feel bad for that. So yeah, I'm voting for fucking Kamala. And I'm not gonna let this narrative of like me not playing both sides. No. This is not me playing both sides. This is me questioning both sides, because this is what we have in front of us. I'm critiquing both sides because they're both so fucked up. Yes, one's obviously better than the other. But Jesus fucking Christ, I hope you don't settle for what we have.
So I assume a lot of people watching this channel are left-wing. So if you're a left-wing person, you probably think that is a pretty agreeable position. And for someone who doesn't really like talk about politics loads, that is kind of like a normie left position. Like if you just plucked out a 26-year-old, now 27-year-old queer person in the art scene and asked them what they thought about the Democratic Party, I'm sure you'd hear a lot of stuff like that, especially in regards to Palestine and everything. And, you know, she talks about the left and right. I think even that kind of shows maybe she doesn't care about politics so much, because most people wouldn't call the Democrats left and would be like, you know, I'm an actual leftist. I don't support the Democrats because I'm a leftist. For a lot of people, this comes across as she's a centrist. No, it's pretty clear. Even if she doesn't think she's doing it from the left, she's criticizing the whole system from the left. And like I said, for most people, that's absolutely fine. But because there's a massive focus on this person, everyone went crazy about these comments and was saying like, oh my God, how could you both sides, the Democrats and Republicans, even though she said she's going to vote for Kamala Harris and that they're better? How could you dare question any of these liberal politicians? As we know, Hollywood is a blue MAGA hive mind. most people would never dare even criticize Kamala Harris for things like Palestine. So even her talking about that, you'd say, oh, that's a good thing. I'm glad someone like that has some backbone in terms of their political views and actually thinks to themselves. And even if she might not say things I always agree with and stuff, I'm happy that she's not just going to go with the norm of, I love Biden, I love Harris, vote for them uncritically. But again, because of our celebrity-obsessed culture, people have just gone so deranged about this woman that they have to hate her for that. Again, is how much emphasis we place on celebrities' political views, because if you just heard that in the street, I don't even think you'd give it a second thought. But because she's a famous person saying it, and everyone has to tear down this person for something like so many people have articulated, and actually what we've seen with the election, like average people who aren't like politically informed often can't articulate themselves as well as they'd like, but we have seen a general apathy with the political system around the world and plenty of people saying a similar thing. If someone gives you like a decent vibe like she does, and what she said points in the direction of she does have these good and consistent morals, then I don't understand why you'd go so crazy. But it doesn't matter, because she recently made more comments which have sent people even more enraged, basically. And I can understand people criticizing this in a vacuum. And obviously, like I've been saying in this video, I don't think you should really give a shit about what celebrities think about politics. And even I would say she's as good as you're gonna get. And here she has an opinion that seems very out of touch and very, like, obviously privileged, and I would agree with the criticism of it. So she had an interview on the Call Me Daddy podcast just saying basically, why are you looking to me for your politics? I agree with that. And how do you expect anyone to keep up to date with politics who doesn't care about it?
People expect me to play by different rules because I'm gay and I should be more politically correct about that, and I should actually be way more knowledgeable about it. And so I get asked a lot of fucking crazy questions that a lot of my peers would not get asked. I have like my opinions, but that doesn't mean I'm like completely, like, I don't know everything about every topic I have opinions on. Like, I try to know everything I can, but like when I don't answer a question correctly, or like, how can I do it all? Like,
you can't.
How can these girls tour, write, perform, interview, sleep, and eat, and fucking work out, and like, how can they do it all and lead a team and be a boss and pay people and like, and be like fucking so politically educated? It's exhausting. And it's also impossible. Also, why the fuck are you looking to me for some political answer? You think I have the fucking answer? I'm a pop star. I wish I had the answers. I wish the president was a pop star, but she's not.
Yeah, no one likes to hear a rich celebrity saying, I am too busy to give a shit about politics, therefore I don't know about politics. Yeah, like, I agree with the criticism that you're a privileged person, you probably have a lot of people helping you. You could educate yourself politically or try and make an effort to stay more informed. At the same time, she's kind of hitting on lots of what I've been saying. Yeah, you shouldn't be looking to her for your political opinions. Lots of people in real life do not have time to actually, you know, be politically informed. And even those who do often are still brainwashed to vote against their own interests. Think about all the blue MAGA celebrities I'm talking about. Mark Hamill bangs on about politics every single day on BlueSky. And he's obviously politically informed in the news, but he's a fucking idiot. So even people being politically informed doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have good politics. But there have been some fair criticism, and I have seen fair criticism. It's more about like her performance, her identity as Chapel Roan, because obviously, you know, that's not her real name, and how she's kind of, you know, this visible queer person who's kind of not engaging in the struggle for queer liberation as much as lots of people would want. And I did see this one video, I'm just gonna play it for you. I saw it on Pop Culture. Drag queens like Plain Jane, Tilly, and other performers have started calling out Chapel Roan, accusing her of exploiting the LGBT community for profit rather than advocacy. I'll play this for you. Obviously, it's not a conversation I can talk about from my own personal experience, so I think this is an interesting point, and I want to talk about it.
I don't know why, but what I'm more upset about is to have a platform like she does, and to be so vocal about the election in such a harmful way, and then to now suddenly it's just, I have no opinions on politics, I'm just a pop star. I'm like, I also think it's really difficult to make your whole identity, I'm queer, I'm in your face. And being queer is inherently political. And I think in this time, this is not the time to be taking a back seat when things get hard, or because you got backlash. You can't make your whole personality about being abrasive and then not be able to handle the fallout. We all need to be speaking up as loudly as possible.
So like I said, I obviously can't speak on that. I will say her comments about the election, I don't think deserved any criticism at all. If anything, I think she could have gone way further and it would have been totally fine. So this person saying that, like, you know, I don't agree with that, but at the same time, if they want to make the criticism that as one of the more vocal queer people and one of the more visible queer people, you're not doing enough for our community, and now suddenly you don't want to talk about politics because people hate you for talking about politics, I understand that criticism, and I think it is a fair criticism that you are occupying a space which plenty of people have had to use a platform to fight for, and plenty of ordinary people, like everyday people who aren't celebrities, have had to fight for progress for you to even get that place in the first place. And maybe you have some sort of responsibility to that community to fight for their human rights and do more. Again, I don't know if people in the LGBT community and the queer community think she's done enough and stuff. Not my place to say, but that is like a more fair criticism. At the same time, like I've been saying this whole video, this is just one pop star who the media have decided to obsessively focus on, where it feels like, and I saw this on Google search, it was like, why did she get so famous? Like, where did she even come from? And obviously she's been an artist for a long, long time that suddenly exploded recently. And now because the media's obsessive focus, it feels like she's absolutely like everywhere and in your face beyond just her music. But again, you just have to ask yourselves, when you see her comments about, like, how am I supposed to know about politics and stuff, right? The knee-jerk reaction is, oh my God, you're a terrible person, like, you're so rich, how can you not know about politics, all that other stuff, right? But I'd say you just have to realize on two levels, these people are human beings, they're very similar to you, and they've only been elevated because they've had some sort of success, right? So they've gone from being like you to being like this platform figure where people look up to them for their art. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have good politics, and that doesn't mean they're going to be politically informed or politically educated or even like politically articulate. And I hope to say to people, like, yeah, you can criticize what she says as a public figure and everything. At the same time, just kind of think about, why do you care about this one specific person, and why do I see her pop up all the time talking about politics? Because people are just dunking on her for being the worst person ever. Like some of the comments I was reading today saying she's like a closet Republican. Like even in terms of just like female pop stars, why is there this energy for Chapel Roan and not the energy for Taylor Swift? Taylor Swift, who doesn't say anything, pollutes the planet way more than most celebrities, and obviously has built an empire on the backs of like sweatshop labor in like Latin America and stuff. Have more smoke for that rather than like a newer pop star who maybe said something about the Democrats you didn't like. But at the end of the day, just please remember, we can like celebrities for political opinions, but just don't rely on celebrities for their political opinions, and don't expect good political opinion. You can trust celebrities who often forgo their privilege by being insanely outspoken. John Cusack, Susan Sarandon, celebrities who are also activists. And you can put these people on a platform because they put their money where their mouth is. Like quite literally, they will not get roles anymore because of their political activism. But when it's just like a random person who doesn't seem to, you know, be that politically educated, why do you give a shit about what they say politically all the time? Like, why do we have to have a discourse around what this one pop star says just because the media has started to obsessively focus on them in a way that you don't get with many, obviously, like male celebrities who often actually have like terrible fucking politics, where she seems to be like pretty standard representative of like a Gen Z woman in America at this age as well. So it's not even something that's outside the norm. She didn't come out as like some radical Maoist. And it also ties nicely to my video about all these celebrities who supported Israel but don't really get much criticism anymore and haven't faced any repercussions and don't get much smoke for their terrible views on supporting Israel. But here we have one person who kind of said that she doesn't like the Democrats because of Palestine and trans rights, but voted for Kamala Harris anyway. And that's like the worst thing ever. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.
The other side is making a very legitimate argument about the right to due process if you get processed and shipped out of the country and put in a prison in El Salvador. Was it Benjamin Franklin's quote about innocent and that it's better to allow 10 guilty people to go free than one innocent person arrested? You know, I'm on that side of things.
Yeah.
That's I think due process exists for a reason, and the reason is...
I told you, this is how it begins. There's only so much insanity that even the ape man and his supporters are going to take. This is how the process begins. The process of discontent begins amongst the ranks, amongst those in the margins who go, maybe this wasn't the best decision. I still like Trump. I think he can restore order here and right this wrong.
We have to make sure that these people are actually guilty. Otherwise, we become monsters. You can't, like, what is that? When you fight monsters, be careful that you don't become one.
Become one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very important. But also, you also have to deal with the fact that the current administration is dealing with the past administration allowing known.
He's in the bargaining phase. I'm telling you, what you're watching is the bargaining phase of the process. He's like, oh, well, you know, all the previous lies that Trump told me that caused me to vote for him, I have to maintain are real and true, right? Otherwise, I have to recognize my mistake. Yeah, he's going through it.
Gang members and terrorists to go right through the border unchecked. That a lot of them they know got through. They don't know the exact numbers, but they know there's millions and millions of people illegally just walk through unchecked, and a bunch of them have to have criminal records.
Trump dick riders are now souring on at least some of the aspects. Why did it happen? How do we get here? What did I tell you? If there is enough counter messaging on the cruelty of these actions and the media starts covering it, because Democrat leadership is making a big fuss about it, then people are going to be more aware of the actual impact, the actual consequences of these decisions. Americans are very malleable. This is why I was constantly screaming from the rooftops, like, Democrats, do something, say something. The is wrong with you? And here it is. And this isn't like, there will be ups and downs. They're not regretful of their vote yet. And they might never be regretful of their vote. But there are people in Joe's audience that will look at this and go, yeah, maybe this isn't the best idea. Because it's not. Because it's a genuinely dangerous precedent. I'm glad that I'm at least vindicated for once in the right direction, where I said, if Democrats start making a big fuss about this and the media starts adequately covering the cruelty of this deportation regime, then people are going to start souring on the mass deportation protocols. And lo and behold, that's what happened. That's exactly what's going on right now. This is just the beginning. It's going to get worse. No one from this point on is going to turn around and be like, no, actually, it's fine. It's actually cool. Yeah, it's really f***ed up. There will be Republicans that say it's cruel, unusual punishment. It's Holocaust-style concentration camps, and I like it. But there are plenty of people in the margins that will not like this. And this isn't just about democracy or the democratic process or whether or not they'll ever vote for Trump again. I don't even know if there will be another election at this point. But the only way to stop that from happening is if there is an alternative out there, an alternative that speaks to the anger and resentment that a lot of people are experiencing, and an alternative that actually speaks to the dangers of this administration with great focus on the individuals that are being harmed in this process to generate stories that people can identify with. That's why I keep maintaining the position that although 90% of those who were unjustly deported to the CCOT facility have done nothing wrong and were along their process of getting either temporary protected status that they had already or going through the court asylum application process, and they were falsely deported to this torture slave labor camp. The one that everyone is talking about is Abrego Garcia. The reason why they're talking about this is because the administration f***ed up and admitted to wrongdoing. I will take that anywhere I can get. I've explained to you already that these things take time, but public sentiment shifting in this dramatic of a way will either push the contradictions to its ultimate demise, where there's gonna be a moment where this breaks, okay? Either it will break and the admin, in an effort to retain a theoretical democratic process, will capitulate to the mob, or they will start a harder enforcement mechanism, a more fascist enforcement mechanism, which will cause people to fight back. That's why I'm talking about public perception here. Before you guys say, why does public perception matter? Of course it matters. Public perception always matters. It matters in the short term, as we seemingly still have a democratic process, and it will matter in the long term as well. Let's say the admin says, you, protesting is now illegal. People start getting locked up for protesting. That is the breaking point. At that point, it's just like you're gonna see people taking matters in their own hands. What a lot of people don't understand is voting is a pressure valve. Theoretical democracy is a pressure valve. It is a way for people to feel like they have a say in the process. If there is no pressure valve, if there is no release, this will implode. You cannot maintain authoritarian control over 330 million people that are gathered out the wazoo, okay? People say, oh, the military, they got drones or whatever, but ultimately, the military is people too. They're still part of the people. They got family members. They got their own personal opinions. That's how coups happen.
But if I was going to try to destroy America, that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
I'd take over the political process, impart censorship on all the social media, gaslight people to no end, consistently do it, AstroTurf stadiums filled with people pretending they support something, pay them to be there, manufacture a movement, and slowly but surely bring chaos to all the cities. Allow DAs to get elected that are the worst when it comes to protecting people and the best when it comes to freeing violent criminals. And that's really their goal. And they can do it they can just use words like racial justice, like just send murderers back out into the streets. You just create chaos. Defund the police. Defund.
Dude, what? It's so funny because the underlying sentiment that Joe Rogan is
Scout pulse in your AO.
Do you want to see something kind of crazy? Hang on, let me switch to green mode. I'm hacking. I'm in the main thing. The government is lying to you. For nearly 4 months, Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency have been parading through various branches of the federal government, firing people en masse arbitrarily, allowing interns who go by the nickname Big Balls to conduct rapid interviews with professional government workers who've had careers longer than you've been alive, all in the name of ending bureaucracy, freeing the American government from the tyranny of bureaucrats in suits.
Billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse.
We're pleased to see the efforts already of Doge and Elon Musk. It's remarkable to learn of the waste, fraud, and abuse that have been going on for years now.
The sheer amount of waste and fraud in the government, it is astonishing. It's mind-blowing. We routinely encounter wastes of $1 billion or more, casually. There's been a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud. Yeah. So the goal here is let's not have America go bankrupt with waste and fraud.
Draining the swamp. That's why I'm green, because I'm swamp. I'm on team swamp here. But these cutbacks to government spending have been disastrous so far, when they haven't just been outright reversed. And this entire time, we've heard nothing but self-praise from Elon Musk and his fucking stupid Doge team on what a great job they're doing making the government efficient and how they're finally fixing everything that's ever been wrong with government. This video was sponsored by BO6. Listen up. Everyone who signs up for the giveaway in the description gets a free vibrator or a coupon for a vibrator. Yeah, I bet that got your attention, didn't it? That's a really good deal, and honestly, you shouldn't miss out. If you aren't familiar, BO6 is a by women for everyone company, providing all things sexual wellness for all people. BO6 has a huge selection of products for all your sexual wellness needs, from vibrators to bondage kits, lube, and even long distance toys. There are tons of different sex toys to choose from. If you're looking, you're sure to find something that's good for you. BO6's mission is to empower everyone to find their thing, empower people to explore and understand their sexuality and celebrate it. And that's basically awesome. Highly recommend. BO6 sent me 3 different toys to show you today. This is the Air Vibe that has dual stimulation. It comes in really discreet casing. No one's gonna know what the hell. What is this? Some kind of pill? I don't know. If you're not sold already, it's all pleasurable, healthy sex lives. Again, check the link in the description for a free vibrator. Thank you again. Let's get back to it. And at the core of all of these arguments about how great of a job Elon Musk is doing, or how Doge is working as intended and everything's going great and according to plan, is this fucking hallucination that right-wingers have that Doge is being transparent, that Elon Musk is doing the most transparent job.
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, our actions, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization's been more transparent than the Doge organization.
So how about a thank you for the transparency that he and the Doge team have put out there? You can go onto the website right now. They've got a live tracker for Doge, and it shows dollar per dollar how much they have saved the American taxpayer. That is you, America. This is volunteer work being done by the world's richest man.
Fox News will regularly act like you can go on this fucking website and see everything they're doing. So far from the truth. So much misinformation and misconception about Doge and its role in the government has come directly from Elon Musk and Doge itself, or just the fucking president, which is why in this video I'm going to demonstrate exactly how useless the fucking Doge website is, to the point that it's convinced me that no one in the media has even checked to see what the fuck they're talking about. I love my primary sources. Okay? I want to get down to what's really going on. And Elon Musk doesn't even know how to fucking program a website. It's bad. It couldn't be worse. If you've been watching me stream live on Twitch, I've been pulling up the Doge website regularly for months now. Since Valentine's Day, when they, didn't launch the website on Valentine's Day like they said they would, which was really funny. They were really off to a fucking great start with this whole Doge thing. And at first I wanted to make this video back then because the Doge website didn't make any sense. It wasn't being updated. It wasn't done yet. But I'm glad I didn't, because it's still not done. I've been keeping track of all of the changes made to the Doge website, and it's somehow gotten worse over time. And I really want to stress again that Doge is the backbone of conservative arguments and Republican arguments about what a great job Elon Musk is doing and how you could check it at any moment. No, you fucking can't. This fake transparency has driven me kind of insane. There's no transparency here, and the more they say it, the less it means. The transparency is so transparent, it's like there's nothing there. It's invisible. You can't see anything. That's max transparency. Like it or not, that's max transparency. Even though Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world who barely does one-on-one interviews with journalists, can barely handle softball questions from fucking Larry Kudlow.
How big's your team?
We're a little over 100 at this point.
100.
Get to 200.
You're going to get to 200.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're recruiting from where? More or less.
Basically, it's software people, information security software people, and finance. It's basically, finance and technology. I mean, frankly, I can't believe I'm here doing this. It's kind of bizarre, but
keep it that way.
I kind of think that we've got this enormous federal budget deficit.
This guy isn't transparent. He's stupid. Like, I think Elon Musk would rather die than be honest about anything he's ever done. He's a habitual and well-documented liar. And just about every example that Elon Musk or the Doge team or even the Trump administration itself has tried to use to justify what Doge is doing to the federal government, cutting research spending, cutting veterans benefits and the VA by 80% of its staff, making Social Security and Medicare benefits less accessible to people. And of course, if you complain, then that means you're the one doing fraud. The Trump administration responds to all of this with, they were making mice transgender with government money. Can't have that. That's woke. Like, they actually said they were turning mice transgender. The research from the transgenic mice studies overwhelmingly, if not exclusively, benefited cis people. Yeah, who cares? Who needs cancer research? Who needs asthma research? That's woke. Because it's transgender. You aren't legally allowed to respect the mice's pronouns. Other insane examples that just completely have fallen by the wayside as the propaganda has weakened over time. Just in a matter of months, really. But some of these older arguments were, they made a transgender comic book in Peru, which is already misleading in and of itself, but wouldn't really be a problem even if it were the case, because it was the U.S. Embassy in Peru trying to encourage exchange students from Peru to the US, like exactly what embassies are supposed to do. Yeah, they do it by distributing literature commissioned by local artists. This is just completely sensical stuff. They just don't like it, so it's gone. And used as an excuse to cut Social Security. But that's just America first, baby. We love our veterans unless they want health care. You know, our hands are tied. They made a transgender comic book. Some of the more absurd things that the Doge initiative has brought up are like unused Photoshop licenses and Politico Pro subscriptions from different cabinet administrations. This isn't fraud. This is just fucking oversight. Here, I don't know how to format this. I'm just kind of floating around here. The main part of the Doge website is just a reskin of Twitter, but if your feed was only what they say from the Department of Government Efficiency account. Not to be confused with Department of Government Efficiency coin, which is a crypto meme coin named after Department of Government Efficiency. What's hilarious is that this doesn't actually have a tab on the top of the website, this homepage or whatever. You have to actually click this to see it. I keep forgetting that and getting annoyed that I can't find that page. I'll go one by one through all the tabs and point out exactly how stupid and useless they are, even if you were trying to honestly use this for data collection or reporting purposes. The first thing you'll notice is not a lot of fucking graphic design experience on the fucking Doge team. Sorry, I'm not trying to sound like... Here, I'll put myself back in the corner. I don't know where to go. I don't know if this will work. Richest, most smartest Iron Man guy in America and can't even make a fucking website. Can't even hire someone to make a website. Jesus Christ. No, this is efficiency. This is what it looks like. Shit ass. So the estimated total savings of the entire Doge project is $155 billion. Elon's total goal is to get to $2 trillion in savings. And if you do the math in real dollar terms, he's about 1% of the way to $2 trillion. That's kind of generous. Like $1 trillion is just an unquantifiable by the human brain amount of money. Compared to $155 billion, you might as well just not be talking about anything. These are quantities that are just not comparable at all. But I don't think Elon understands that or cares. I think he just came up with a number that sounded epic and awesome. He doesn't really seem to know a lot about anything. He seems to actually be a really stupid kind of guy. And that's the combination of asset sales, contract lease cancellations and renegotiations, fraud and improper payment deletion. A lot of this is the kind of stuff you see when someone doesn't really know what they're talking about and they just start kind of combining layman terms together. Improper payment deletion? It's not like a thing. Amount saved per taxpayer, $962.73. Remember when Trump said that Doge was going to be sending, what was it, like a $3,000 check, a $5,000 check, whatever it was, $1,500? That was never going to happen. They're giving $5 trillion in tax cuts to the 1%, and they're giving you fucking jack shit nothing tariff out the ass. Everything you like will be more expensive, and the rich will still get richer. But you know, thank God we cut that fucking cancer research because it was trans. We're working to upload all of our receipts in a digestible and transparent manner, consistent with applicable rules and regulations. These guys are very concerned about following all the rules and regulations. We know that. To get started, listed below are a subset of contract, grant, and lease cancellations representing around 30% of total savings. The contracts listed below have been posted publicly on fpds.gov. FPDS posting of the contract termination notices can have up to a 1-month lag. Oh, we'll talk about the lag. Last updated as of April 14th, only a few days ago. That's nice. The first thing on the website is this stupid, like a gamer-brained agency efficiency leaderboard. So if you sort it by most savings, HHS is number 1. It looks like you can click on it, but you can't because this website was made by morons. There's no citation, no reason why it's at the top of the leaderboard. There's these stupid up and down arrows, but there's no way to tell over what period of time this increase or decrease has happened. Up 3 on the Department of Labor, they're gutting the shit out of it. Man, they just can't find too much in the Department of Defense, number 12. I bet I could find some fucking excess spending and a little bit of fraud even, dare I say. So yeah, the agency efficiency leaderboard, the first thing on the website, completely fucking useless. Underneath that is the wall of receipts. So this is a fucking mess. It is hard to understate just how disastrous this is as a functional website. I cannot believe this is real. I have to calm myself down. Here's the wall of receipts for you, okay? You can't search by agency. You can't search by vendor. You can't search by description. You can search by date, apparently, but it's not the date the contract was signed or put into place. It's the date they put it on the website. Again, completely fucking useless. This was made by children, I think. Let's sort by total value. Here's a $3 billion contract from the Department of Interior. The very first thing you click on says screenshot not yet available. FPDS has an update lag. I want to make it very clear that update lag is not a term. It's not a real thing. It's something that somebody, probably like a 19-year-old intern who's not paid and is volunteering for, you know, buddy time with Elon Musk or whatever weird rewards he offers, pregnancy, I guess. That person completely made up an excuse not to just take a screenshot from an already existing searchable functioning website and put it on their website. Like, who the fuck do they have doing this? They certainly didn't put their names on it. You can view it on FPDS. Yeah, it's right here. The purpose of this modification is to termination this task order in its entirety for the convenience of the government. What? Holy shit, dude. They're not even literate. The purpose of this modification is to termination this task order in its entirety for the convenience of the government. Fucking easy 3 billion, I guess. Oh, it's not even sorted by... Wait, it's not even sorted by savings when you do total value. It's value of the contract. Oh, wait, here. You can sort this by savings. It's the same one. It still has an update lag. Influx care facility for up to 3,000 unaccompanied alien children. Yeah, cut that shit, dude. So yeah, update lag. They couldn't just put this screenshot. They couldn't just take a screenshot and put it in their fucking website. However they do it is so inefficient that that's not how it's done. So this is how they're supposed to look when there's no update lag. This is a contract with Centennial Technologies. It doesn't even say why it was canceled on the fucking website. Why would it? The purpose of this modification is to update federal procurement data system description. Requirement for enterprise program project integration services. Okay, great. Enterprise program project integration services. I'm sure this helped disadvantaged people in some way, and now fuck them, right? Can't take away money from the Department of Defense. We gotta defund any kind of immigrant aid. Any kind of aid to anybody, actually. Veterans too. Here's a Department of Defense contract with update lag. Update lag. It just makes me crazy. It just makes me crazy. This has an update lag and no link to FPDS, so this just is completely unverifiable. This is just on the good word of Elon Musk, I guess. Sorry you guys hate transparency and hate efficiency. A handful of the US aid contracts that were canceled just say unavailable for legal reasons, and that's real transparency right there. And they're censoring FPDS too. Well, that's unavailable for legal reasons. The $250 million contract through US aid. You can't talk about that. We're the most transparent any administration's ever been, but that's unavailable for legal reasons. Oh, you know, legal reasons. Look at all these legal reasons. FPDS posting of the contract termination notice is going to have up to 1 month lag. I'm guessing that's what the update lag means. FPDS has an update lag. It has one. An update lag. We can't show you the $200 million in savings. Legal reasons. Update lag. They're so transparent that they're really honest with all the reasons they can't show you any valuable information. That's the transparency. Wait, what the fuck? These just say currently unavailable. It didn't even give a reason. Oh my God. Yeah, Texas Department of State Health Services. Give me back that $870 million. You don't need that. You're only battling a measles outbreak. You don't need money for that. Measles doesn't respect currency. Here's one from USAID that is available for legal reasons. $780 million in savings for WHO polio and immunization 2, whatever that means. Like a second grant, maybe? I don't know. It's so transparent. It's not telling me. Illinois State Department of Health and Human Services? Fuck you. And we won't even tell you what it's for. We won't even tell you what it's for, why it is. It's gone. Do they know this? Have you told them? Look at all these health grant cuts, dude. This is disgusting. And they just say currently unavailable. Like, go fuck yourself if you actually want to know why they did this. Where's the fraud? You can go look it up. You can look up any of the fraud you want. Just go look it up on the website, find the fraud. They post it all the time, look. Yeah, John Hopkins University, fuck them, dude. They don't need money. These are also leases that are similarly just not transparent at all. And if you were looking for something specific, a specific grant, a day it was signed, or even a day it was terminated, you wouldn't be able to find it from any of that criteria. You would just have to scroll the 953 pages on the grants page or the 822 pages on the contracts page until you found what you were looking for. That's efficiency. That's just how we do it in the fucking Trump admin. The calculations for the leases are particularly frustrating because they act as if they would be renewed for a certain amount of years. It's assuming a certain amount of time so they can like dramatically overinflate the numbers. It's so arbitrary. Annual lease cost is $1.8 million for this Bureau of Reclamation building in Boise, Idaho, an 80,000 square foot vacant space apparently, probably for conservation purposes, but you know, who cares? That's not on here. You're assuming this lease would have been renewed for 18 years, so you can overinflate the number by 18 times. It makes this part of the website useless too. Here's $11 million in savings from the Fish and Wildlife Service from a $1.5 million annual lease. Times it by 10 basically. You just put an extra 1 there. How do you calculate this? This is stupid. The reason is just termination via mass mod. Yeah, sounds about right, dude. Fish and Wildlife Service, they don't need money either. National Park Service, Forest Service, Bureau of Indian Affairs. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing a lot of Department of Defense on here. I wonder why. Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. Yeah, fuck them. So that is the savings page. Just the first of the fucking 4 tabs we're gonna look at. Wait, 5 tabs. Wait, this is new, this payments tab. Consistent with President Trump's cost efficiency initiative, Doge will begin posting payments to show the public how taxpayer funds are actually being distributed on a daily basis. Every part of the fucking Doge website is an idea someone had while on the toilet or something and didn't think about it for more than 3 seconds before they already started asking ChatGPT to make the code for them to make it. That's what it feels like. What if you had a website that showed all of the government spending every day and everyone could like see it so they would know? Yeah, that's stupid and also never gonna happen with the fucking current defense budget. Trump wants $1 trillion Pentagon budget. You're joking me. That's the Fish and Wildlife's money. Last updated March 9th. How often do they fucking update this website? Who's working on this? This is also just completely useless. They tried to do this like tag system. I don't know what the fuck this is. All payments, whatever defines a payment. NIH, let's look through 24,000 payments. $9. What, are you serious? $3? What the fuck is that? That can't be right. You can't click on it. Again, if you were looking for something in particular, just look. Just come on. This is just one fucking federal government agency. One agency. What are these like co-payments for people's like insurance or something? What else could this be? Dude, none of this makes any sense. And none of the information they provide makes it more helpful either. Nonprofit special interest, National Endowment for Democracy. Again, can't sort by any of these. Agency, recipient, award description, payment date, payment. No, can't sort by any of that. Oh my God. And there's only ever been 3 data requests. The last one being on March goddamn 7th. So it's extremely out of date. The first sentence on this webpage says Doge will begin posting payments to show the public how taxpayer funds are actually being distributed on a daily basis. What happened? I guess they forgot. An official website of the United States government. Here's the next tab, spend. This is so dumb. It gets worse, dude. It just gets worse. Agency spending, fiscal year 2019 versus 2024. Literally pre-COVID. That's such an unfair comparison, especially for fucking DHS. Nothing ever happened between 2019 and now. Wait, they're number 9. Why are they at the top? Wait, can you actually sort it? But wait, these don't even have numbers. General Services Administration is number 1 in what? Number 17 of what? 51% change in spending from fiscal year 2019 to 2024. Revenue's up 42% in that same time period. Wait, that's not even that bad. I'm still confused. You can't sort by any of these. You can't search for any of these. You can't click on any of these for them to like elaborate on what any of it means. It's just there. It's just there and it stares at you. The more you look at it, the less sense it makes. Okay, so here's the workforce tab, which is again useless and stupid, just like the whole website. Meet the U.S. government. Trace your tax dollars through the the bureaucracy. Okay, so it shows the branches of government, and it shows 6 stats that really don't make any sense and are completely useless to know. Also, I doubt that this has been updated since the mass firings. I don't even know when this data is from. It doesn't say. There's 2.2 million people working in the executive branch, 16,000 subordinate offices, doesn't really seem like a relevant or important number, and 200 billion in total wages. I guess this kind of makes sense if you're talking about like balancing the budget and doing efficiency. Looking at wages makes a little bit of sense. Here's years of tenure, how long each person has worked there. The average employee has worked here 10 years. Also useless. I don't really give a fuck or shit about that. It's a waste of time and resources. It's inefficient to be even tracking this. Salary, again, I guess you could see a justification there. Average employee at the executive makes $93,828 a year. One employee makes $500K plus. Who the fuck is that? You can't click on any of this information and it doesn't tell you, so might as well not even be here, really. And the average age of employees in the executive branch is 47 years old. This I find completely fucking stupid. What do you do with the average age of each fucking branch of government? Sorry, I said each branch of government. It's not just each branch of government. It's a tedious, monotonous list of every cabinet office, every subcommittee, and then of course as soon as you get a little too deep they just say, I don't know, we're not there yet, update lag. It's organized in the stupidest way possible too. They decided to organize this by large independent agencies, medium independent agencies, and small independent agencies. Maybe I lack some kind of fucking nuanced education on the workings of the fucking federal bureaucracy, but I don't think anyone organizes the departments of the federal government like this. Large, medium, small, like a fucking fast food menu. And I guess just according to Elon, whatever's medium size, like the Farm Credit Administration, again, you can't search for any of this. You can't just type in what you're looking for. You have to like painstakingly dig, and that's efficiency. That's just what we call efficient, when you have to look manually for something through 10 layers deep into a website that was programmed probably by Grok. What's the average age of the worker in the Farm Credit Administration? 44. And you can't argue with that. That's just stats. You can't argue with that hard data. They make an average of $29,000 a year. Dude, give them a raise. That's too low. For an average of 13 years, that's so low. Consumer Product Safety Commission, 562 people work there. Like, what do you do with any of this? God, it doesn't take much for them to just run out of data, too. What about large independent agencies? The EPA, average employees 47. 1,000 people are 65 plus. Like, what is it? Who cares? How could this be useful in any way? How is this transparent? And I love this fucking smug attitude throughout the entire website, too. Meet the U.S. government. Here's the wall of receipts. Dude, you're not showing me anything. It just, the more I think about it, the more I look at it, the more I'm hypnotized by its idiocy. It's the Pandora's box of stupid. The last thing we're going to talk about for the Doge website is by far the stupidest tab. It's the most nonsensical, half-baked idea that they threw on at the last minute just to fucking fill the word count effectively. They didn't think it looked cool enough with only 4 tabs. They needed fucking 5 and a join tab at the end too, just in case you want to join this operation. So this is Elon Musk's, I guess, personal formula, what they call at Doge an unconstitutionality index. The number of agency rules created by unelected bureaucrats for each law passed by Congress in 2024. Agency rules, like, you know, washing your hands after going to the bathroom would be an example of a rule. Even from very specific things, like how the agencies should be operating day to day, like that is well within the people who run those agencies' purview and jurisdiction. But apparently Elon thinks only Congress has the right. They need to pass laws outlining the behavior of every individual in each individual agency in the entire federal government, and that's efficient. That's efficiency. So, as you can see, the unconstitutionality index is 18.5. I think it's clear what that means for the country. In 2016, there were 18.09 rules per law, 3.85K laws, 213. If you click on this, none of it is elaborated on, none of it is cited. I guess you can download their Excel data. What does that do? Excel is trying to get me to buy it. I don't have a product key. I'm not trying to get more for my family or whatever, but you can at least see what the spreadsheet actually says on it. look. Like, what do you do with any of this? Code of Federal Regulations? 98.68 million total words for 215,000 sections of regulation. Too many words is the problem? As you can see, the number of words has increased over time. Federal regulations by agency. Department of Treasury, 14 million words for 16,000 sections of regulation. What could the Department of Treasury have to write so much words about? I think they're writing a little too many words over there at the Department of Treasury. I don't mean to slip into the Elmer Fudd, but Elon is so stupid. It is like there's an Elmer Fudd in the fucking federal government. Elmer Fudd made this website. Like, yeah, of course the Department of Treasury's got a lot of words in their regulation. They're talking about complex things. What do the words say? That's the thing that drives me insane. None of this you can click on. You can go and look at this yourself on the website and try to click on some shit that confuses you and feel the despair that I understand every day when I try to fucking see what's going on in my government. When they tell me it's transparent and they're just like, look at how many words there are. How dare you try to read the words? We don't want you to read the words. Just gawk at how many there are. Like, what is the argument? What does this prove? Just documenting this is a waste of time. It's such a waste of time. You'd be more productive sweeping the streets of fucking Washington, D.C. than you would be doing programming this stupid shit. I hate this. I feel like I've been cursed. In recent news regarding Doge, just yesterday a story broke describing how nearly $1 billion, $900 million from the wall of receipts was just quietly taken down. Dude, it's pixels, man. Wait, can he do that? That's like video games. Holy shit. Wait, maybe this is awesome, actually. Going insane. I mean, the long and short of it is that the Doge website is full of lies. Just like every time Elon has gone on TV, or any Republican has gone on TV to try to describe what Doge is doing, it's lies from start to finish. Easily disproven lies, and they don't care that they're easily disproven. There's just something that really bothers me, that really motivated me to make this video. This is the official Doge website. Like, I'm not a particularly smart person. I'm barely educated, but I can look at this and have so many questions. The fact that so few people in the media, in mainstream media, have actually done the work to expose this, it's kind of making me crazy. I'm sure there's more you can go into. I've watched over time as the website has gotten less and less functional and less transparent, ironically. Just as it exists, it undermines everything Republicans have to say about making government more efficient. The website itself isn't efficient. There's no credibility here. But, you know, that's not really what matters to Republicans. So, really, this video was just for me. And I feel a little better. I'm still pissed off. If you know somebody who is defending Doge or defending Elon Musk, maybe consider sending them this video if it resonated with you. I really appreciate you watching. Feel free to subscribe or like the video if you enjoyed it. I really hope Elon Musk stops fucking up the government very soon. I hope for other stuff too, but I'm not going to say them. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Yeah. David Pakman kind of blows. Like, David Pakman, I watched, he's just like a fucking kind of shitty liberal. He talks about the stupidest stuff. Like, oh, Donald Trump shits himself, or Donald Trump said he mistyped a word on Twitter. Isn't he a fucking idiot? And then with the whole Israel stuff, it's been absolutely atrocious. Like, look at this. David Pakman's experience with left-wing purity tests reminds me of someone. Interesting segment where David explains his opinion on why these purity tests happen and how it hurts the movement. So it's like, I mean, bro, the fucking H3 crowd is reaching for any kind of branch they can find to, for some kind of like feeling of getting supported. This is like word for word the type of shit Ethan is experiencing. I hope he sees this. He just posted it to his Insta. Why hasn't Pakman been on H3? Okay, let's play a little bit of this.
Being imperfect disqualifies you completely. This is personal too, by the way. I've spoken out strongly.
Okay, so I just have to step in immediately. He says being imperfect disqualifies you completely. That's completely, like, that's obviously not true. He's just up in his feelings because he's being criticized for something valid. I mean, listen, if people will say, I want free housing or whatever, that's like a leftist position. I want universal housing for people. And then someone else is like, well, I don't know if it should be like a universal housing, but I think the government should invest heavily in building housing and increasing the supply of houses. That's not going to preclude you from being in a leftist circle. You're not going to get kicked out of your DSA group or banned from your Discord server. It's like, these people are fucking stupid. The thing they're talking about is, oh, I'm imperfect. I just support Israel as being an ethno-state, and people don't like that. It's like, bro, people are criticizing you not because your support for Palestine is imperfect, but because you support Israel as an ethno-state. Like, that's what anyone who says Israel has a right to defend itself does support Israel as an ethno-state. That's why people are criticizing Bernie Sanders too, because even though he's willing to criticize the genocide that they're doing, which is great, like, I actually don't even know if he's called it a genocide, but he's willing to say that they need to, like, stop funding Israel because they're doing war crimes. Like, that's a bare minimum. That's great that he's saying that, but he can still be criticized because he supports Israel as an ethno-state, because he's like, Israel has the right to defend itself. And it doesn't have a right to defend itself against a group of people that it's occupying. Like, it should just give those people equal rights as Israeli citizens. But people that don't say Palestinians should have the same rights as Israeli citizens and have like a unified government, people that don't say that support an ethno-state. Like, Ethan Klein literally says, if we give Palestinians the same rights as Israelis and they're like citizens of Israel, then they're going to do pogroms against Jews because the Jews aren't going to have the majority. So it's literally the mentality of, if we can't oppress you, you're going to oppress us. That was an argument to keep slaves in the fucking in the Civil War era. Like, we have to keep black people enslaved, because if we don't keep them enslaved, they're going to get freedom and do pogroms against the white people. It's ridiculous. Bro looks like he ate Nutella straight off the jar. Holy shit, dude. Oh my God, that was actually funny. Okay, what is this purity test?
An independent Palestinian state.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know he was talking about Israel and Palestine in this circumstance. I thought he was going to be talking about like trans issues or something. No, he's literally talking about one state versus two state solution. I might be imperfect, but that doesn't mean that I should be precluded entirely, because I'm in favor of an ethno-state.
Whatever, as if being imperfect disqualifies you completely. This is personal too, by the way. I've spoken out strongly in favor of an independent Palestinian state, against Israeli settlements, against Benjamin Netanyahu. But I've also said I don't support the BDS movement. I don't support
Why? Why would you not support the BDS movement? Oh my God, bro. Hila Klein would definitely have owned slaves. That was a comment for people that might clip me. That was a commenter saying that. I did not say that. I'm not saying that, but I did not say that.
For the elimination of Israel. I don't support those things, but I support all.
Yeah, so he's literally saying, I support Israel as an ethno-state. Why aren't people sucking my cock off? It's because you support Israel as an ethno-state.
The other stuff I just mentioned. You all know I've had people say I'm not part of the real left. I'm actually a right-winger with my beliefs.
Yes, because you support this isn't like, oh, I'm 99% of the way there. You just don't like that 1%. It's like, nah, bro, like the ethno state is like 90% of it. What we're seeing the genocide that's happening, that's like the extra 10% of fervor and bloodthirsty frothed upness that got triggered by October 7th. That's like the tip of the iceberg that we're seeing, and that's the genocide. The entirety rest of the issue is the ethno-state. That's the issue. And you're ignoring the issue in favor of being like, well, I don't like this one tip that's directly caused by the thing I'm supporting. Like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Is he really, like, this is so stupid. And I'm gonna get this on a rant, but it's like, these fucking people, they're like, I want an independent Palestine. Israel says Palestine is independent right now. We just control everything about it, but it's independent. Don't worry, it's independent. So are you going to be in favor of like a BDS movement if Israel violates Palestine's independency? Are you going to be in favor of resettling all of the settlers in the West Bank and resettling people so that you can have a contiguous border between Gaza and the West Bank, so it's not like a country split in half by another country? Are you going to be in favor of that? Why don't you just give Palestinians equal rights? Oh, I know, because you're a fucking ethno-state enthusiast. Oh, does he say that it's like, I'm 90% of the way there? I mean, the only reason I said that is because Ethan Klein says that all the time.
I've been excluded by people whose views I mostly share because I only signed off on 92%, not 100% of what they believe. So why does this happen? This is the critical part.
According to David Pacman, the 8%. We just disagree on 8% of things, and that 8% is the ethno-state of Israel.
I just finished reading the book The Status Game by Will Storr. And in the book, he explains that a lot of this behavior...
Bro, I can't get the fucking Nutella comment out of my mind. Bro looks like he ate Nutella straight out of the jar. It's so accurate.
...is about how people try to gain status in their communities. And in many left-wing spaces, the way to earn status is
virtue signaling.
Pure. This is where the phrase purity test comes from. By proving you're the most principled, you're the most correct, you're the most uncompromising, you're the most left-wing. And Storr leans on the work of Jason Manning and Bradley Campbell, who describe...
David, do you want to talk about the 8% that you disagree with? Because this is really affecting you a lot, right? You lost subscribers in October 7th. I mean, you said you've lost subscribers since then. And you're like, I'm happy that I lost subscribers. Do you want to talk about the 8% that you disagree with the left on? Like, what are you doing? You're like, I only disagree with 8% of things with the left. And they don't like me because why? They want to prove they're the most super leftist in the entire like Discord server? Isn't it weird how those who always talk about performative activism tend to do it the most? Why is he acting like he's getting tomatoes thrown at him in the town square every single day? Because he knows he's wrong about the issue of Israel and Palestine, and he just can't stand it. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit more of this, but honestly, I've watched 81 seconds, and then I'm about done.
Describe a shift in what they call a victimhood culture. In that culture, status comes from being seen as a victim or defending victims more strongly than anybody else does. And when that's the game, what you end up with is people constantly calling each other out, not just to make things better, but to prove their own virtue.
This guy just said defending victims strongly is not making someone better, but to prove your own virtue. What are you talking about? Are you saying you're fine with Palestinians getting genocided a little bit? He literally just said people that are calling other people out for not defending victims strongly enough, or saying I'm defending victims the most strongly, is doing it to virtue signal instead of actually like making someone's lives. No, I think if they're saying you're not defending a victim, they're trying, like, if you're not defending a victim sufficiently, they're trying to defend the victim better. Oh my God. fucking hate
to
this
win
shit.
points.
Oh no, I can't be against genocide because I'm getting yelled at online. Why can't you let me be against genocide? Just let me be against genocide. Oh my God. Bro, this motherfucker doesn't even believe it's a genocide. Same with Ethan Klein. He thinks it's a war. David Pakman and Ethan Klein don't even think this is a genocide. Yeah, he's projecting his lack of empathy. That's exactly it.
Because they are the ones doing the calling out. So what ends up is that instead of building coalitions, the left ends up...
I mean, bro, it's just a complete lack of self-awareness. It's like, I'm getting called out by someone. It can't be an issue with me, so it must be them that's the problem. Because, I mean, bro, you already said you aren't... Like, you already said there's a tangible difference between you and the people that are apparently calling you out, right? You said you're only 92% of the way there. So you disagree with the people, and they're calling you out on the shit that they disagree with you on. So why are you saying that they're just doing that performatively rather than being like, oh, maybe that 8% that I have a difference with them on actually has tangible real world consequences, and the policies that I'm like that I'm talking about, that I'm informing my audience with, aren't that good because they're getting criticized. Now, I'm going to ignore all of the criticisms and just say they're being performative and they're virtue signaling and they're trying to be the biggest victims, or they're trying to be the biggest defenders of victims. You literally are saying that the people calling you out are defending victims more than you are. That makes you a shitty person. Like, that means you could do better. You're admitting in this that you could do better.
Policing its own ranks. The right rewards loyalty, and the left often rewards purity.
Dude, shut the fuck up. The right is all about purity. What the fuck are you saying? What? Donald Trump's literally like suing people that are saying that he lost the election in 2020. That's all performative loyalty. This guy has no idea what he's talking about.
And that difference is showing up at the ballot box. If we want to win, we have to stop turning minor disagreements into disqualifications.
It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in the entirety of the internet. And it's a talking point that gets repeated a lot. Oh, the left invites, the left invites, the left is not letting me be against genocide. The left isn't letting me vote for Kamala Harris, and we're losing. Shut the fuck up. You have nothing, like nothing of value has been said at all in this.
Because then we'll just keep losing. If you don't build the tent, grow the tent, you shrink it, and then you...
Like, oh my God, these people have actual brain rot. Like, nothing that he's saying has any basis in reality whatsoever. Kamala Harris was running. It wasn't Hassan. It wasn't Vosh. It wasn't Kyle Kalinske. It wasn't Sam Cedar or Emma Vigeland. It wasn't a leftist that was running. It was Kamala Harris that was running. So when you say you have to build the tent, you have to grow the tent, are you talking about Hassan growing the tent? Because he did. He got a lot of more viewers. Like, he's been increasing his audience and his size. Or are you talking about the candidate that ran? Is it the candidate or the left? Are you saying that the left needs to grow its tent so they can vote for shitty liberal candidates? Maybe the shitty liberal candidate shouldn't have been such a shitty liberal candidate and grown their tent to incorporate leftist policies so that they could get more leftists to come out and vote for them. One of the stupidest fucking, like, this guy talks about politics for a living, and this is why I was saying that his politics are fucking dumb. He talks about Donald Trump, like, misspelling things. He was one of the guys that was like, oh, he says Kofefe. Like, this is David Pakman's politics. Trump stubs his toe as he walks out. Oh, look, he slipped on the golf course and landed on his back. That's the type of shit he does. And that's why when Trump won the election, he had a massive drop in subscribers, because people are like, fuck you, I'm not watching your shit anymore. And people that actually talk about real politics and substance, like Kyle Kalinske, has had a massive uptick in followers. Because he's not just all performative bullshit that goes off of optics. Oh, the left isn't letting me vote for Kamala Harris. It's not letting me be against genocide.
Lose power. And there's this idea that if you let more people in who aren't pure, you actually shrink the tent when in reality you're growing it. So I would like to see it.
Like what? I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. There is an idea. All right, I'm just going to picture like, I'm just going to use the example of like a leftist on Twitter that's like, oh, you're not... David Pakman's someone that criticized Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders says Israel has a right to defend himself. Fuck him. Okay, that's like a TikToker or something. A TikToker has the idea that if they let Bernie Sanders into the left coalition, they don't criticize Bernie Sanders, they have the idea that that's going to shrink. So if they don't criticize Bernie Sanders, that's going to shrink the left coalition and lose elections. Nothing of that makes any sense. What coalition is he talking about? How is the Twitter group or the person that I don't even know what he's talking about? They're like he's in his own little world right now. If you want to criticize, if you criticize someone, the point of criticizing them is to show that their idea is wrong and try to get other people and even potentially the person you're criticizing to change their ideas on that issue you're criticizing. That's the point. It's called public discourse. I like criticizing someone isn't gatekeeping, right? Like when we're talking about elections, when you're talking about elections, that's completely different than online discourse. You have to think of it in a new way. Like that's a completely different scenario when you're like, someone criticized Bernie Sanders and then leftists aren't gonna vote for him because he was criticized by Hassan. But actually, Hassan should just let Hassan shouldn't criticize Bernie Sanders at all, and he should lie to his audience and say that Bernie Sanders is actually not against. Don't even talk about the genocide that's happening in Gaza.
Go differently. The next couple of election cycles, pure. You have this idea that if you let more people in who aren't pure, you actually shrink the tent when in reality you're growing it. So I would like to see it go differently the next couple of election cycles, and let's see if it makes a difference.
Yeah, that's really stupid. He's basically saying you should, like leftists that are critical of Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris and people like that, don't talk about your disagreements with them. Because if you talk about their disagreements with them, then you're causing your people to not vote for them. Even though, like, basically just lie to your audience, which is what Pakman does. This is like word for word the type of shit. Yeah, he's just saying like do Democratic Party propaganda, and we know that doesn't work because that's what Kamala Harris did, and they lost because of the Democratic Party propaganda, not because of the criticisms of the Democrats. Pakman has a great way of articulating his points while staying calm and concise. I would say while saying nothing. This has gotten so much worse as the years pass, and no one can pass these arbitrary purity tests because they keep changing. Like, what the fuck is this person talking about? The right wing is more than happy to accept anyone with any flaws, along with, no. Like, this is the thing, guys. Conservatives, they're happy to accept people with flaws. They don't consider, like, being a rapist a flaw. They consider that a benefit. And the issue is the right wingers do purity testing all the time, but they don't care if you're like a rapist or a domestic abuser. All they care is that you say the right things and you like put on the MAGA hat at the end of the day. That's all they really care about. I'm optimistically thinking that Trump's second win has shocked the left to reevaluate some of these toxic practices. What are the toxic practices? This is what I don't understand. Are they just saying like criticizing politicians for doing shitty things and not being a Democratic Party propagandist and like lying to your audience? Are they saying that they're basically saying having a spine and speaking up for what you believe in and like the policies that you believe are true and correct and moral, that is That's ruining elections. You should stop doing that. Just be a fucking propagandist and suck off Joe Biden, suck off Kamala Harris. Don't advocate for any actual kind of change at all, because any kind of criticism at all to the Democratic Party is detracting from the tent that you could potentially use and just like submit at the foot of Kamala Harris as she's trying to run in the election. So stupid.
Get ready with me to recreate Lauren Sanchez's makeup look. Welcome back to Queer Eye for the MAGA Guy, Gal, and Non-Binary Pal, the show where I, a liberal, reach across the aisle and act bipartisanship to help Republicans recreate their favorite conservative makeup looks. Lauren has done a lot in her gender-affirming care journey, going from this to this. Oligarch Jeff Bezos, his fiancée, has been on my radar ever since she showed up to Trump's inauguration in a visible lace bra under a blazer. Ultra classy. Lauren recently flew back on my radar after she went to space with Katy Perry and Gayle King. Sadly, the poor optics of their blatant space tourism has really overshadowed Amanda Wynn's accomplishments. Sadly, the poor optics of their blatant space tourism has really overshadowed Amanda Wynn's accomplishments. This civil rights activist and now astronaut who deserved to go to space. Please look her up. Now back to our show. Full Coverage Foundation. I am using a foundation that matches my skin tone because she uses a foundation that matches her skin tone. A rarity for sure, but excited to have it. I'm going to go around the perimeter of my face with a slightly darker foundation that also matches my skin tone to create a nice brightening effect. Now we're gonna take a pink beauty blender because she's a girl. Blend, blend, blend. Be sure and cover your lips with foundation. This is very important. A lawyer told me to always say, in my opinion, for these videos. So, in my opinion, her makeup is exquisitely applied, but her, in my opinion, bad plastic surgery makes it look like crap. Starting off with a medium brown eyeshadow, we're going to draw a light wing and cut our crease. When you're doing your eye makeup, always start on your non-dominant side. If you're right-handed, start on your left eye. If you're left-handed, start on your right eye. It makes them so much easier to match. But I'm starting on my right side, even though I'm right-handed, because I don't want the eyes to match. I want some asymmetry. Almost as if part of the face was pulled tighter. I don't know why I want that look, but in my opinion, the asymmetry is what's gonna make this look sick. Perfect. Now we're going to diffuse that with our pink beauty blender. Just tap your eyeshadow in with the beauty blender and the foundation to really just set it into the face so it just looks like a shadow. I'm going in with a little bit of this NYX Jumbo Stick crayon in pink. A little bit of a grayish brown. I'm sorry I really can't tell you that much about her, but every time I tried to research her for this video, I just got more irritated with her. She's a lot like Melania and Cheryl Hines that way. Oh, I should do Cheryl Hines makeup soon. Such a talented actress, such a crazy husband. Our final step for the eyeshadow is one of her signatures, which is a pink shimmer all the way up to the eyebrow. Liquid liner, like I said, her makeup is really incredible. And she does enough black liner on her waterline, which is just amazing for this series because I hate doing that. I'm gonna move on and do the lips. Now, when you want to create the look of, in my opinion, overfilled lips, you're going to want to take a white jumbo stick and draw on the lip shape. Even though she usually does a nude lip, which I like, she usually goes too dark in the liner. So that is what we are going to do. If you want to really give the look of lip filler, overdraw the top lip and flick it out like a jack-o'-lantern mouth. Next, I'm taking a coral lip liner and drawing some highlight points. The Pink Beauty blender is back. Oh my gosh, I think I might actually need to do them bigger. Contour, we're going to start off with the nose. I like to call this nose on the side of the nose contour because you're just drawing a nose on the side of your nose. Buff it out into the sides. And on the tip of the nose, draw a little V for Vladimir Putin. I've been analyzing her cheek contour because surely this couldn't be what she's doing, but I really think it is, in my opinion. You start at the end of the lip and go all the way up past the eyebrow. See how this makes us look like we're Pennywise from the It movie? Next, switch to a lighter contour shade and buff down slightly to create a buccal fat removal look. Watch the magic come together with the Beauty Blender. A lot of people say I do too much contour as a joke. No, I don't. Okay, we are adding more to the lips. How much bronzer will we be using for this look? Yes. Be sure and not hit the center of your face at all. I really think her makeup artist was inspired by Morticia Addams, the Angelica Houston version, and how there is a white band of light always on her face. I quite like it. A little dusting on top of our forehead. She wears a lot of bronzer on her jaw and neck. A line of white jumbo stick on our nose and cheeks to give a shiny look as if the skin has been manipulated and overfilled and stretched and redacted over time. Blend, blend, blend. And just for fun, on your forehead, draw a T for Trump. With a very dark brown, we're going to go under our lashes, lining almost all the way across our eye. The blush is orange and heavy. Apply your blush like you're Sabrina Carpenter or Dixie Carter. And by that I mean all the way up into your forehead. And I think just a hint across. Lauren's eyebrows are beautifully shaped. One is a little bit lower than the other, and it wasn't like that when she was younger. Now, I'm not a plastic surgeon, but I've heard plastic surgeons say that can be caused by Botox hitting a nerve. Mascara, top and bottom lashes. I really think this entire space trip was because she wanted her bachelorette party to be in space, and Jeff Bezos was like, the American people are gonna need to pay for that, babe. And very full lashes. Adding a very light lipstick shade. If you all think I'm mean for making fun of somebody for their aesthetic, I just want you all to know she joked about wearing a corset in space because aesthetics are all that matter to her. This is our final result. Let me know how you think I did in the comments and what other politician or oligarch's girlfriend's makeup look you would like to see me recreate. All right, my strange little onions, I love you. Have a hug, a cookie, and a juice box. Mwah.
Already know who he is, so stick around for that. Meanwhile, Oaklawn, Dallas-Fort Worth, A lesbian couple and some friends of theirs are out to grab some tacos. A random man came up behind us, initially friendly, and engaged us in conversation. We responded accordingly, talking back and laughing. However, he then attempted to grab my friend from behind. She said, "Whoa." He immediately became defensive because she didn't want him touching her and in her personal space. He said he's in the mafia and we needed to watch out. It's essential to acknowledge that touching strangers without their consent is unacceptable, and becoming this offended when they decline is unwarranted. Her girlfriend intervened, telling him to chill out. The situation escalated literally because he didn't think he should have to respect personal boundaries. And by escalated, they mean he drops the N-bomb on them multiple times.
You want to be a bitch. That's you're really bad.
Hi.
Well,
Bitch. Your mom's a bitch.
okay. What'd you say?
Oh, he's on top of
What'd you say?
You a bitch. I heard it. Don't even worry about it. It's okay. I'm not racial. What?
Clearly you are.
Never be a woman.
Clearly you are. You're trying to be
Never
tough
be a
as
woman.
for
You
what?
will never amount
You're
to
arguing with a female
You
for
are never
what?
anything, bitch. You're always a bitch. You will never amount to bitch. You will never.
How are you?
He's upset because he's misled.
Is that man bothering you?
Yes.
So sorry. He totally hard you earlier.
Something that stood out, it was weird to me that he said, "You'll always be a man." I was like, is anyone in your group a trans woman? And she goes, no, one has some masculine features, but we're all cis-born women. And he felt that that was the appropriate response because they didn't want to be touched. Now, I reached out to her because I saw her video, and then as she was like writing that story to me, I was doing digging. And around the time she finished writing me that story, I sent her this and said, look familiar? Also, just as an added thing, more than just the face, you may notice this like tribal tattoo on his ribs here. And what's that peeking out right there? Funny thing is, they had uploaded their video and then it got taken down by TikTok. But it must have gotten to some people who know him because he had already deleted his Instagram. But you forgot about that TikTok. Or maybe you just thought no one would find it, despite the fact it has the same username as your Instagram. Oh, and then there's that Twitter account that you don't seem too active on these days, but that is where I got that picture. And even though you deleted that Instagram, it still comes up in searches, and your Instagram just happened to have your full name on it. Isn't that right, Manny Barajas, newly licensed cosmetologist? At least you were newly licensed when you set up this LinkedIn. I'm wondering, do you still work here at this place in San Diego? Is that still your employer, or have you moved on from that job because you're just so charming and engaging? You know, Manny, I'm not sure why the black men who were sitting there were comfortable with you using that language and speaking that way toward black women, but you're going to find that that is not a common trend, that the majority of society thinks what you did was vile and disgusting.
If someone asked you how many calories you ate a day, do you think you'd know? Or if you did, do you think you'd tell the truth? Well, that's exactly what secret eaters tried to figure out when they launched their brutal weight loss show, which followed people who claimed they ate very little food but still managed to gain weight. A mystery which was easily solved as the stars of the show were followed by private investigators who looked at their eating habits, often with humiliating results. The episode I found to be the most brutal was in season 1 of the show, which featured 26-year-old Ronnie, an investigator for the police who weighed 21 stone 5 pounds, which is around 300 pounds.
The amount that I'm eating is not 21 stones worth of food, and it makes no sense to me.
Despite being able to investigate crimes, she can't seem to solve the mystery of her weight gain, which is exactly what we'll figure out soon. Ronnie isn't the only one who feels slightly too large too, with her fiancé Stuart also claiming he has no idea why he's piling on weight, as they eat what they describe as a healthy diet.
We make all of our own food, it's all home cooked. Quite wholesome meals that all have veg in them.
Obviously, to me and you, it's pretty obvious that they can't be eating healthy food, as we know that the only way to lose weight is to eat less calories than you burn. And this can be made easy when you sign up to the Fat Loss Kitchen, which is my brand new newsletter that I started to share healthy meals for completely free. I teamed up with a good friend who just so happens to be a chef too, and shares my passion for helping people to get healthier. Use the link in the description to sign up and be on the lookout every single Friday evening for a brand new recipe. Now back to Stuart. He claims that the pair aren't big eaters of fatty foods and eat all the green stuff, with him going for a run on his segment, which somehow acts as proof that they do live a healthy lifestyle. However, as the age-old saying goes, you can't outrun a bad diet, which will become apparent later.
We try and eat all the green stuff, fruits, vegetables, not big eaters of crisps or fatty foods. We seem to be putting on more weight. It really is a complete mystery to us right now.
Now, just like most people who are overweight, it's not just their physical health which is being impacted, it's their mental health too. For Stuart, he feels incredibly self-conscious about his size, admitting that he feels uncomfortable when Ronnie hugs him in a certain way because it makes him feel too fat, which he says massively impacts their love life. And Ronnie is also clearly affected by her size too, as her first thought after Stuart proposed to her was that she needs to lose weight for the wedding.
I don't want to be a big potato in a white dress walking down the aisle.
I want her to be looking up at me thinking, wow, isn't he the most handsome I've ever seen him? And that's something I want to do for her, more than for me. I want her to really know that she's marrying, me looking as good as I can.
So with their goals of losing weight for the wedding confirmed and the mystery of their weight gain looming over them, they call in the big guns to help them cut weight, which comes in the form of no-nonsense TV host Anna Richardson, who gets straight into the big question.
Right, we're going to get straight into it with food, because that's why we're here. What would you eat for dinner?
It's all home cooked, and we will always have, really, we have homemade curries, bologneses, we'll have chili con carnes.
One YouTuber commenter wrote, "I feel like people on the show think that adding vegetables to a meal magically makes it low calorie," which sums up their thought process entirely, as Anna asks the pair what they are looking for from the show.
What exactly is it, really, that you want to get out of this process, Stuart?
Be able to understand why the healthy lifestyle that we're trying to lead isn't working. It isn't giving us the good health benefits that we should be getting out. At the moment we're putting healthy food in, and we're not getting a healthy life out, which doesn't seem to make sense.
There's a slight hint of delusion in here, and probably a lot of denial, especially from Stuart, but I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt and see exactly how they eat. So their home is rigged up with cameras to watch their every move, and on top of this, 2 private investigators are going to be secretly following them, and the results they find will be absolutely shocking for the pair. So after Ronnie prepares a very bland looking ham salad for her lunch the next day, which was captured on the cameras, they decide to go out for their dinner, away from the prying eyes of the surveillance team in their house. However, the pair do not know that they are being followed, and on their very first day of the plan, prove they do not eat healthy at all.
They're off for pizza. They might think that we don't know what they're up to, but our PI is 2 steps behind them.
After being seated in Pizza Express, the private investigator reveals the pair ordered starters consisting of garlic bread and antipasto, or just an Italian platter of meats and cheese, which brought the total calories for this to around 1,400, and that was just a starter. Ronnie had a 4-cheese pizza with an egg and tuna on top. Outside of this sounding pretty grim, it also contained over 750 calories, which in all honesty isn't even too bad for a pizza. Stuart also had a chicken pizza which was 900 calories. And if pizza wasn't bad enough, they lashed on olive oil, which was estimated to be around 150 calories worth. They followed up their meal with calorie-heavy alcoholic drinks and even had coffee and desserts after. After all was said and done, Stuart had eaten 2,100 calories, with Ronnie eating 1,700. Having this massive meal, after claiming to the audience that their weight gain is just a complete mystery, surely puts their delusion on show. I do think they probably are just either in denial or lying to themselves about the amount of calories they're eating, or simply just aren't educated enough on how much they should be eating. The couple were followed for the rest of the week, which obviously they didn't know about, and the investigators tracked everything they ate. They spied on what coffees they drank, what meals they ordered, and even how much popcorn they ate when they went to the cinema. Nothing was left unknown. This is completely different to the other shows I cover, especially My 600 Pound Life, and it leads to a massive wake-up call at the end of the show, as the host reveals exactly what the pair ate throughout the week, with shocking results.
Ronnie and Stuart said they wanted the truth about why they can't lose weight. Now, in the instant room behind this secret wall, we're about to reveal the evidence to them.
After the big reveal, the pair are shown what they really ate throughout the week, and it seems to be actually similar to what they claimed. Outside of the pizza, Ronnie claimed prior to the show that she ate around 1,800 calories a day, which is from a mixture of healthy foods such as seeds, fruits, vegetables, and whole meals. If she was consistently doing this, weight loss would have been easy. However, as we'll come to find out, it seemed like they were trying to play the system a little bit. Like I mentioned, Ronnie swears that this is her typical diet, that she eats these healthy foods consistently and rarely eats out in a normal week, which left the host Anna a bit confused.
Is it fair to say that the food that we see here today is more or less representative of what you had for the week? You think so? Okay. I'm surprised by that because our dietitian did some number crunching looking at this, and she was saying that actually there is not enough food on these tables for you guys to maintain your weight or even to put on the weight. So there's just not enough food here.
The pair agreed with Anna that there wasn't enough food to maintain their size, and they were right, because there simply isn't enough food there to get them to the weight they are. If they did really eat this on a weekly basis, even with the high-calorie foods once every couple of weeks, there's no way they wouldn't lose weight. And Anna saw this too, and asked the burning question I can guarantee you're thinking right now.
So we need to kind of ask a couple of questions, which is, were you aware of the cameras this week, and do you think maybe you weren't eating quite as much as you normally do?
For me, this week, I did have one of the days I wasn't very well. So I actually did eat less. But just on one of the days, the other days, I did what I would normally do, yeah.
So after Ronnie cemented that yes, this is a normal week, Anna dropped a massive bombshell.
Well, in that case, I mean, you know, you guys are a challenge for us, because actually what happened this week, you lost weight.
Now you can make of this what you will, but in my opinion, it's pretty easy to see that this is not what she really eats on a daily basis. The show is called Secret Eaters for a reason, and it's clear she's doing exactly that. The week that the cameras were on her, she ate less and did lose weight, which just proved to her that it was possible. However, it shouldn't take private investigators and your house being surveilled to stop the denial that you're eating so much food. Despite Anna accusing Ronnie of gaming the show, she does get to her level and offer her some genuine advice.
You think other people look at you and say, well, she's a big girl, she must be a right slob, and she's probably scoffing doner kebabs every night, which we know isn't happening. Yeah. But you are picking and you are taking in extra calories from whatever source, even though they're healthy sources. Yeah. If we could just reduce your intake, even by 100, 200 calories, that will impact your weight. So it can be done. It might be difficult for you, but it can be done.
They gave Ronnie a 1,500 calorie diet plan to follow in order to lose weight, and we'll catch up with her in a few weeks after the show to see how she gets on, which we will see the results of very soon. After Anna had finished giving advice to Ronnie on her situation, she then turned her sights onto Stuart, who surprisingly seemed to be a bit more honest about why he snacks.
To find out, PI Cameron's recruited Stuart's work colleague Ian as a spy to gather evidence.
After hiring a work colleague to watch what Stuart eats, he reveals that Stuart ate a Twix and a little sweet lollipop. Honestly, this wasn't even too bad, and certainly not enough to gain a massive amount of weight. However, Stuart does admit that this happens more often than not, and gives a pretty relatable reason for his overeating.
But again, you know, you did have the chocolate.
I did.
You did have the sweeties.
There is a chocolate machine on the floor upstairs.
Yeah.
In our little chill out area. So if I'm stressed, my first reaction is, well, let's get away from the pressure situation. If I've got change in my pocket and I'm feeling that real angst, then I'll go for the odd chocolate bar.
The cameras also caught him snagging on chocolate throughout the day too, just because it was so easy to access, such as having a big box of chocolates in the kitchen or the glass of sweets right next to him. This is something that will catch a lot of people off guard. It may seem like you're just having 1 or 2 chocolate pieces, but throughout the day and throughout the weeks, it adds up, and more often than not, can be the reason for steady weight gain. But it wasn't just a snacking either, as Stuart's reluctance to cook was also on show. With Ronnie out of the house and not cooking a meal one night, Stuart decided to go to the supermarket to indulge in a microwave meal, or a TV dinner in America, which are just loaded with salt and calories.
In a tomato and badly sauce. So.
This pasta bake is labelled as a meal for 2. So will he leave half? We picked up the trail back at his flat. Going. Gone.
Stuart himself ate a 1,150 calorie meal, which means that this was around half his daily calories. And if anyone's ever eaten one of these meals, you'll know that they're not exactly filling either, which is the opposite of the meals featured in my newsletter, The Fat Loss Kitchen. The link's in the description. Stuart was also put on a healthy eating plan off the back of this, with the goal to eat less than 2,000 calories a day. They were given 10 weeks in total to stick to their plan and lose some weight. And I've got to say, the results were genuinely impressive. Before we look at their physical differences, the pair shared the mental differences, and it isn't surprising that after they started to control their diet, they genuinely felt better about themselves.
For 10 weeks, Ronnie and Stuart have stuck to a healthy eating plan.
I feel calmer, feel healthier. It's actually great.
And you can actually see the difference in their bodies and their confidence. And when the weight loss amount is revealed, it's easy to see why. Stuart ended up losing 1 stone 6 pounds, so 20 pounds in 10 weeks, which is a good, healthy amount to lose. Ronnie's weight loss was even more impressive too, losing 1 stone 8 pounds, a 22-pound weight loss in total. Their weight loss, despite their objections at the beginning and their clear denial about their eating habits, proves that if anyone sticks to a plan, they can lose weight. It shows that there truly is no mystery in weight gain, only denial and self-deceit, which can be extremely difficult to overcome. Let me know if you like this video. It was a bit different than my usual stuff, but it was fun covering a different weight loss show. Now, if you want to see people who have been truly consumed by their eating addictions, click the video that's on your screen now to see the craziest meals ever eaten on my 600-pound life, and I'll see you in the next one.
Securing Alpha.
I didn't have enough topics because I'm lazy. I've been working on real videos. So what you do in this situation is you go to Prager University and you hope and pray they've posted something recently that you can laugh at. The Hall of Evil, Fidel Castro. Okay, this is up my alley. I want to learn about the evil Fidel Castro. What did he do that's so evil? Let's find out. Who have they got? Paul Kenger, professor of political science at Grove City College. I've never heard of that in my life. What is Grove City College? Is that even a real college? A conservative Christian college in PA. Man, in the USA, you can register as like a college, literally fucking anything. This should not be allowed to exist. This should not be sanctioned as a university. A private conservative Christian. Anyone can just make a fucking university in your country. It's crazy. Where did he get his degree? Paul Kengor. Let's poison the well a little bit. The devil and Karl Marx. Oh, this is the guy who argued that Karl Marx was a Satanist or something. I remember him because he was in a previous. He's from the Heritage Foundation. He's basically from all the right-wing think tanks. Let's see what he has to say about Fidel Castro. Let's find out.
If you consider how many people Lenin, Stalin, Hitler, Mao, and Pol Pot killed, Fidel Castro is small potatoes. Yet, he merits a vaunted position in the 20th century's Hall of Evil. Here's why.
I really wish that they would like signal when they have like an actual PragerU video for you. Like the thumbnail of this one was not clear at all. Like I want when I think PragerU, I think these videos with like the same graphics they've used for the last 20 years, the blue background. That's what I want. I don't want Glenn Jacobs telling us about freedom and democracy or whatever, and how the trans people are threatening it. I want this.
He imprisoned the entire nation of Cuba. He destroyed its economy, impoverishing millions while enriching himself.
Let's find out how.
He arrested, tortured, and murdered political opponents. He energetically
they deserved it.
His Marxist ideology throughout Central America, South America, and parts of Africa, spreading death and suffering well beyond the border.
Suffering. Let's find out. Let's check out the evidence.
And he almost precipitated a nuclear war between the United States and the Soviet Union.
That's incredible. That's incredible that Cuba, a country without a single nuclear bomb ever under its control, according to this guy, could have started a nuclear war. I can't wait to find out how.
During the Cuban Missile Crisis.
This is definitely AI, by the way. They used to have like these really easy to make simple graphics, and now they have like AI generating me for like Fidel Castro in watercolor or whatever this is.
62. Had he succeeded in that ambition, he would have even surpassed the grim body count of Stalin, Hitler, and Mao. Thankfully, even dictators don't always get what they want. Born on August 13, 1926, Fidel Castro grew up in comfort and privilege. His father, an immigrant from Spain, was a
It's weird how, like, when it's them, comfort and privilege is good. It's virtuous. Like, why shouldn't you being rich mean that your kids are also rich, right? But when it's someone they don't like, suddenly it becomes something to point out and be like, this guy was comfortable and privileged. This is a bad thing, actually. Like, when does it, like, what's the logic here, okay? It's like, if you're comfortable and privileged, you should advocate for the far-right ideas that help you retain that comfort and privilege, or you're bad. If you actually go against your own interests by trying to help other people, you are bad. So I guess that problem here is that he was a class traitor. I mean, yeah, that's it. They don't like that he was a class traitor against their class. That's simple.
Prosperous sugarcane farmer. Always in a hurry, Castro was only 27 when he made his first stab at revolution. In 1953, he attempted to overthrow the government of Cuban President Fulgencio Batista.
Batista, obviously, was a US-backed dictator, which is left out of this.
Badly undermanned, poorly executed rebellion was easily thwarted. For his troubles, Castro got a 15-year
He doesn't say anything about
prison
it.
sentence, but served less than 2. Throughout much of the 1950s, his defenders portrayed him less as a Marxist-Leninist than a garden-variety populist and anti-imperialist.
That's what he actually really was, obviously, because the U.S. controlled the Cuban government and the Cuban economy completely at every level.
According to one of his biographers, as if leading a consumer revolt, Castro protested high electric bills and inadequate telephone service.
And? What's wrong with that?
In any case, his rebel movement languished in the Cuban hills, hanging on by the thinnest of threads. To say he had 100 followers would be a generous estimation. Then, out of the blue, Castro found a savior, the New York Times. In an exclusive 1957 interview with Times reporter Herbert Matthews,
they're trying to frame the Cuban Revolution as if it was failing, and then the New York Times, which they hate because it said bad things about Trump once or twice, they came in and they made everything good for them. So what actually happened in the Cuban Revolution is they landed on a boat from Mexico with, how many was it? I think it was around 100 people. Only around 30 of them survived, but they managed to drum up support against the peasants in the countryside where they had landed and slowly build up a guerrilla army that was eventually able to overthrow the US-backed dictatorship. The reason why they were able to do this is because the dictatorship and the US control of the country was incredibly unpopular and people wanted it gone. That's what actually happened. People in Cuba who joined up with Castro did not read the fucking New York Times. Times, most of them actually couldn't read, not in Spanish, let alone in English. And I seriously doubt that the New York Times was highly circulating among the peasants who he recruited. So I'm not sure about this one here. I got to tell you. Anyway, let's see what else our friend here has to say.
Castro promised that
a slop YouTuber has weighed in on genocide once more. It is a long video, but I'm going to at least look at a part of it in order to have my brain broken by a fucking moron who should not be.
And this is the craziest part, by the way. I cannot believe how many slop tubers have come out of the woodwork just to expose their ass on not knowing anything about Palestine. Like, these are people who make anime videos, who make videos about fat people, who make videos about not liking animation YouTubers, and they're here to talk about how much they understand about Israel, Palestine. Meanwhile, they found out that Gaza is a city or a state or a region in the Middle East last week. It's like, it's just embarrassing. It's really bad, but let's go.
Talking about these things, yet who nonetheless wants to. Let us look at this guy who thinks that he
has to be a violation of the Geneva Convention.
I'm sorry, okay, I know.
You should be talking about genocide here first, okay? Let's take a look. What kind of videos does he make? Okay, video game censorship has gotten insane. Video about fat people. Video about hating trans people. I'm dating a broke loser. Girl pranks the police. Suing Lyft because you're fat. Ruining your life for TikTok views. The failures of diversity hiring. Why are
Also, Sarnik, thank you for the $5 donut.
they're trying to censor anime? Now it's time to weigh in to an argument over an ongoing genocide. Normally making videos about video game small boobies or whatever the fuck it is. Time for a video on genocide. What could this guy possibly have to add to this debate? Well, nothing, obviously. This guy is an incapable, know-nothing idiot, and that he is weighing in on this in the first place is disgusting. The only place for someone like this to possibly weigh in on something like this is to post like a statement condemning the genocide on social media or something. But no, don't worry. He made a video reiterating Ethan Klein's genocidal propaganda and defending it right here. Let's check it out, folks. Like the thumbnail, there's no clue. It doesn't clue you into the fact the video is about what is clearly an argument over genocide. Just this guy's a nice guy. This is disgusting. The description, this video is about Ethan Klein suing no some sort of defamation. No, the video is about genocide. You can't disconnect this from the fucking topic of the video, which is pure a political argument over one side that backs genocide and one that doesn't. So let's see how you possibly get around that, which, to be clear, you're not going to be able to. But the fact that you saw a video about genocide and tried to make it interpersonal, yeah, that basically says all that there is to say about you, your channel, your ability to do anything at all.
On YouTube for the past few years, there's a big industry that's exploded in popularity, and it's based on a simple concept. Hassan, bad. Hassan Piker is bad, and he's dumb, and bad and a terrorist, probably. It's also wild because the political content creator in question is an anti-genocide content creator, and the arguments they're attacking him for are anti-genocide arguments. So these creators, they're positioning themselves in opposition to him and his arguments, de facto positioning themselves on the pro-genocide side.
Well, I mean, maybe these people don't like Hassan Piker because he says a lot of dumb things that aren't always related to the Israel-Palestine situation.
What is this argument? He streams like 12 hours a day every day like a freak. Of course he doesn't spend all of the time streaming about Palestine. What the hell?
Well, no. The examples that he brought up are specifically in regards to Israel-Palestine. All of it is about Israel-Palestine. Ethan Klein's hatred of Hassan Piker, which is what you tend to be responding to here, is all in regards to Israel-Palestine. All of it is. Is this the kind of content this guy makes? Like a random picture of a city? A random picture of a fucking city where he just says the first shit that comes to mind? This is your content? And you sound like you're 14 years old. This is...
Again, the worst part about the way that he sounds is that that's not even his voice. That's his YouTuber voice. Imagine having a YouTuber voice and it sounds worse. It makes you sound like a fucking nerd. Which, like, I will say, I didn't know that was a real thing until I had to start recording videos. You have to like force yourself out of your YouTuber voice. Everybody has a YouTuber voice in the same way that everybody has like a phone service voice. Like when you pick up the phone, your voice just changes. This is another bug in human programming, but it's the same thing. Or you have like a retail voice, a customer service voice. Yeah. Hello. And I will say mine just goes ASMR. Like for some reason when I'm trying to like read text and record it, it just goes like, today I want to cover this. And I'm like, and I have to listen back and be like, that's not what it sounded like in my head. But this guy just becomes a fucking nerd, a 14-year-old nerd. Fuck.
This is you. What is this?
Also, Ted, I just remembered I have boba.
Why do these dumb fucks keep weighing in on genocide?
In fact, most of the criticism towards him over the years has nothing to do with that at all.
This is literally, the video that he's making is specifically about genocide. This is a fucking 4chan post. Oh my God.
But according to...
Look, guys, I found this 4chan post on a Google image search.
Noah, anyone who criticizes Hassan now loves...
No, he said the people in question, the examples that he flashed on the fucking screen, are people who are criticizing him specifically regarding things that he's saying regarding the ongoing genocide. That was what was said, okay? I criticize Hassan Piker. I don't criticize him because he's on the right side of a genocide, though, okay? There's a different... Can you understand these concepts? No, you can't, you dumb fuck, because everything for you is interpersonal creator drama, or they remove the big tits from my video game. You operate on a level of intelligence that is so below average that I don't even think you can understand these basic concepts of like criticizing someone because they...
Think Before You Sleep got mad at Eden is Online for being bald phobic. This is like the epitome of someone who didn't ever understand or figure out the reasons you're allowed to dislike people and the reasons you're not allowed to. So he just kind of goes based on vibes, and he's like,
well, I don't really like this person because they make fun of people like me.
But he doesn't recognize that there are valid reasons to dislike people and invalid reasons to dislike people.
They said genocide is bad or they're against it or whatever. It's not the same thing as criticizing them for something else. Like your example here is basically that he's rich. Okay, that's a totally different thing.
Okay, I'm loving the us versus them mentality. And well, I think
the us versus them mentality. The us versus them mentality when it comes to a genocide is the only mentality. What the fuck are you talking about?
Time for the yearly Noah Samson check-in. Last time was pretty crazy with the alienation stuff, but this time Noah seems to be even more off his meds than usual.
Oh, he references it.
I guess he decided that slandering one of his opponents to try to get his audience to deplatform that opponent wasn't enough.
So wait, you're only even making this video not because you care about the fucking issue at hand, but because you don't like the person. Person who talked about it. Like, what spurs you into action is that? Like, you just dictate your political beliefs. Believes based on, I don't like this guy. He's talking about this issue. So I'm going to defend this other guy who is, to be clear, explicitly defending genocide just because he's against it.
He's slandering a bunch of big YouTubers to try to get his audience to, well, we'll get to that. But first, a little backstory on the whole Hassan Piker, Noah Samson, and Ethan Klein situation. About 2 months ago, YouTuber Ethan Klein released a...
I will not, imagine myself writing on a chalkboard. I will not make fun of his voice. I will not make fun of his voice. I am done making fun of his voice.
Content nuke on his former Leftovers podcast co-host, Hassan Piker, who has endorsed things like terrorism, has violated the Twitch rules numerous times, and never gets in trouble for it like any other creator who is not.
Oh my God. He's just trying to frame a video, which, to be clear, I have refuted this video in exhaustive depth. Basically, every time that Ethan Klein attempts to make a statement of fact, it's wrong. Everything. It's just fucking incorrect. Check it out. On my channel right here, Content Czar Bomber, Ethan Klein. Go watch that. You'll have a good time. So obviously he doesn't even delve into the video, doesn't delve into anything about it. He just tells you what to think about it and then moves on.
Hassan would. Some people might call that a double standard. In response to Ethan's video, boosted e-girl Noah Samson, who basically has had his entire career made by Hassan reacting to his videos, decided that he can't have people criticizing his pay pig because if people point out all the rule breaking that...
I'm pretty sure what he made is a video about genocide. So the...
What? His pay pig? Does he think that Noah Samson is personally funded by media conglomerate Hassan Abi Live?
Evidence of this, right? That you could think that it's about genocide. And by the way, it wouldn't matter if the video was framed around Hassan Piker or...
I like the idea that Hassan Piker is the, like, George Soros of, like, the LEFTTUBER left streaming space.
Whoever. Because the facts are what matters. What should matter to you are the fucking facts, not, oh, I don't like Hassan Piker, I don't like Noah Samson, but he's made like 10 fucking videos all about Israeli genocide. All of these videos, like nothing but Israeli genocide videos for like 6 months now. Okay, so he's like, oh, he only made this video because it's Hassan. Then how do you explain the other 9 videos about Israel-Palestine that aren't about Hassan, okay? And even if it was about Hassan, who fucking cares? What the facts and the evidence are what fucking matters, and they should matter to you, but they don't matter to you because you're a YouTuber who makes videos about video game tits being too small.
Hassan has done and he gets banned from Twitch. Who would boost all of Noah's videos?
Who gives a shit, man? Get to the part where you try to talk about something of substance, if you ever do. It's a random image I found on Google as I talk over it with gut. Who watches this? Who is this for?
I am really concerned about the type of person that watches this type of content.
There's no way this audience is more than 12 years old.
Because the problem is, it doesn't even like make you laugh or bring you joy. Like, nothing in it sparks joy. It's just like you hear this sad, angry loser complain about the YouTubers he doesn't like. And he's not even having fun with it. He's not making jokes. He's not having fun either. He's just mad. It's like, what the hell?
And look, personally, I don't have a lot of interest in this war. I'm not a
what? Then why are you commenting on
this? With other people's drama. And contrary to Noah's...
Then why are you commenting on a video that's explicitly about this genocide, not this war? You're already doing genocide apologia by using a fucking euphemistic term for it.
It seems like both sides have done some pretty horrible things.
Oh, we get literally both sides before we're even at the 3-minute mark. We're like 2% into the video and we literally get well, I think both sides are bad.
It's not about fact-checking Noah's research on Israel and Palestine.
Then why the fuck are you here? This is not about fact-checking. Then why are you here? Why are you delving into it?
He has to defend his favorite YouTuber, Ethan Klein.
A video about genocide. If this is not what it's about for you, how can you possibly respond to this video about genocide without addressing the facts about the genocide? You can't, because it's fundamentally a video that is about contesting the facts on genocide. What this is someone who is too fucking pussy to admit that they know nothing and they shouldn't be delving into this topic. So what they're doing is they're trying to smuggle in their support for this genocide by framing it as an interpersonal thing. And they're going to go through this and do nothing but try to make you sympathetic to the Israelis doing genocide over their Palestinian victims. Basically, this is going to be standpoint epistemology from a clear, like, far right winger. A guy who usually does nothing but complain about, like, oh, why you have to bring race into it, man? Why you have to bring gender into it, man? Come on, man. It's just identity politics. I'm so sick of it.
What'd you get? This is this place in LA. It's called Teaspoon. I really like their stuff. I drive pretty far to get it because I really like it. But it's not brown sugar. It's a drink called black sugar. It's Assam tea. It's really good. Which I think it's brown sugar. They just call it black sugar because it's that with some other stuff. And it's really good.
What he's going to do is be like, but did you ever consider the Israeli standpoint? What about Ethan Klein's standpoint here? Who cares about the actual facts? Who cares about, the genocide? Who cares about the fact that this has been denounced as genocide by practically every single respectable global human rights organization? All that matters is my standpoint epistemology. And he's going to invoke anti-Semitism a bunch as well. I can't wait, man.
Which I'm sure is as horrendous as it usually is. What this video is actually about is Noah Samson pushing his audience towards violent radicalism through slandering other creators and openly calling for his audience to use violence to achieve their political goals. That being said, let's go.
If you're against the use of violence for political goals, why are you not denouncing the Israeli genocide? What is that if not violence for political goals, if not violence being employed for the express purpose of literally eliminating the Palestinian people of Gaza for the purpose of taking that land for themselves? How is that not violence for political goals? You don't even denounce that. You don't say anything about that. So no, you're not against political violence. You're for political violence of the worst kind. What you're against is violence in response to the violence that you support. That's what you're against. And even an inkling of that, you cannot abide.
The problem with a lot of the people who honestly endorse and engage in right-wing policy, for a lack of better words, is that for them, no method is incorrect and no method is too far. It is only their opposition that's not allowed to do anything wrong ever. I mean, for example, the best example that I can think of right now is, take a look at my enemies, okay? Anytime they say anything that they notice people don't like, they immediately run behind, this is obviously a joke. And when they are faced with actual jokes, they suddenly pretend like humor doesn't exist. No, that wasn't an actual death threat. Sorry, that wasn't a joke. That was a serious death threat. That was a real bounty you put on someone. It's like, the joke couldn't be more clear if it was like Invisible Woman. Like, how are you even, what? You saying something totally deadpan with no additional context without signifying to your audience at all that you're joking, and you're joking. But I make a joke about making some chick in a game's tits bigger and suddenly I'm not joking, right? And this is like across the board all the time. For them, this is one of the primary criticisms that I think people have of Ethan Klein. For someone like Ethan Klein, there is no method that you are allowed to use to fight the genocide in Gaza. Right? Obviously, armed resistance is unacceptable. Obviously, right? Because innocent Israelis will get hurt. Okay, sure. Let's go along with that. Apparently also targeting military bases is also unacceptable, because I'm sure many of you had seen, I believe it was the Houthis, I'm like blanking right now, but there was there was a military base, an IDF base that was targeted in Israel, and some IDF members lost their lives. And guess what? Guess what Israel said? Well, it was Hezbollah. It was Hezbollah. Sorry. My apologies. It was Hezbollah. They said, you know what? I can't believe anyone would ever cheer this on. You know, there's mandatory service. You just killed a bunch of, yeah, sure, they were all IDF members and none of them were civilians, but you just killed a bunch of innocent civilians. It's like, okay, so any military action is unacceptable against Israel. Even if you exclusively only target IDF members, even if you exclusively target military members. Okay, what if we try blockades? Okay, we won't allow goods and services to enter Israel. Well, the Houthis are terrorizing innocent people on these boats. Yeah, for sure, they did release them and they were all unharmed and they were fine, but that's wrong because Israel is suffering. It's like, wait. So people can't engage in military action. They can't engage in military action against your military forces. They can't blockade and stop goods from entering. We also can't, protest anymore because we don't appreciate the free speech that occurs in America if it's against U.S. imperialism. And then we also can't, what are you allowed to do against genocide? Oh, and then trying to boycott goods? What are you, anti-Semitic? BDS is illegal in 38 states. Like, I'm sorry, in what? Like, according to your framework, what tools are people allowed to use to fight against genocide? Are there any? Are there any tools that we are allowed to use to fight genocide? Because it sounds like there's not. It sounds like there's no. Ethan Klein says the only correct form of pro-Palestinian action is voting for Kamala Harris. Like, you literally can't do anything without these people throwing a fucking fit, in which case how can you be surprised when people consider you to be for the genocide when any type of resistance against the genocide is frowned upon? You do something new with your hair? Yes, I did get my bangs touched up and I did get like these highlights, well, it's specifically peekaboo highlights, but yeah. Only acceptable action is to die? Yeah, I mean, that's what they want. They want the Palestinians to roll over and die. They think that that's acceptable. But it's just insane.
We fucking see you. We know what you are. You're a dime a dozen, a dumb fucking 12 IQ idiot who just supports genocide because it makes your fucking little Western skinny, I mean, skinny is probably very generous, white boy feelings.
Listen, you know what, chat? I will say something. If me and Abana Banana disagree on something, there's an 80% chance he's right and I'm wrong. I will say that, all right?
Feel better. And you took a break from making videos about small video game tits to make this.
Go further into detail for why Noah didn't like Ethan's content nuke on Hassan.
The real reason I'm talking about Ethan's video today is less about what he says in it and more about what he doesn't say, the things he chooses to leave out. Ethan omits the Palestinian side of the story entirely. He doesn't talk about Gaza. He doesn't give any specifics about what Israel is doing there. And this is an issue. Western media manufactures consent for large-scale terror operations across the globe in a number of ways. There are more overt forms like atrocity propaganda. There are also more subtle ways like deceptively framing information, using passive language. And
Noah does basically all of this in his video. So wait. It's not about the facts. It's not about the facts you said. And then you go here and you say that he's lying about the facts, actually. You literally put this text on screen that claims that he's lying about the facts. So it is about the facts then. Essentially, what you're saying is that what he's saying, which is, you know, there's genocide in Gaza, Israel's committing all of these atrocities, blah, blah, blah. You're saying that it's wrong. That's what you're saying, because that's fundamentally what he says during this video. You know, I don't particularly care about this war. I think both sides are bad. I'm not going to contest the facts. What I care about is his defense of Hassan Piker and his slanderous attacks on poor Whittle Ethan Klein. And then it's like, actually, he gets the facts wrong too. I'd love for you to show us.
False perceptions about conflicts through things like burying the lead and lies by omission. All of these tactics are present in Ethan's video and the wider online smear campaign that motivated it, but it's that last thing that I think does quite a bit of damage, lying by omission.
So this is incredibly dishonest framing from Noah. Ethan's video is more about Hassan and not fully a response to the Israel-Palestine situation.
Ethan's video is literally all about fucking Israel-Palestine. There is practically nothing in it that is not directly related to Israel-Palestine. Literally, the scene that you're showing here on the screen is Ethan Klein, who specifically got angry at this Yemeni teenager because this Yemeni teenager supports Yemen's attacks against Israel in response to the Israeli genocide. That is what this fucking clip they use as an example is about. In the back, we see Frogan. Why does Ethan Klein hate Frogan so much? Because she literally had a bit during some Twitch event where she said that like Sabra hummus, an Israeli brand of hummus,